I'm Ebac. Today I'm joined by Jerry for a fantastic game. Jerry, who do we have lining up for us today?
We have the mighty Lionscreed versus the incredible Hmble Academy. Some incredible teams, honestly. These are real titans of the scene. Lionscreed, obviously, they've made a name for themselves. This is their swan song to Tier 4. They are trying to leave a mark before they disperse into greater things. But Hmble Academy, they've had a rip-roaring season in the Contenders
Excuse me, there's
division.
Greater than ECS? Did I hear that right? I think that's wrong.
I know, it's strange to hear it coming out of my mouth as well. Yeah, Hmble Academy, they had a nutty season in Contenders, let's be honest. They managed to come top. They were playing second fiddle to Machine Soldiers most of the way through the season. But they just managed to grab that first place spot. And it's given them a pretty tough time now in this top bracket. They are looking to book their place in the quarterfinals against Arctic. But this has, like, early final written all over it, in my opinion. I think these are two of the best sides in the whole damn bracket.
They are Hmble. The thing is, they make it hard for themselves quite often. There was one play day where they got a better winning result than 7-5, and that was a 7-3 midway through the season. So they have made it really tough the whole way through. They always let the other team take a couple of rounds. When you're playing against Lionscreed, they'll take those rounds, and then they will get their own that they don't deserve on top of it. So obviously, Lionscreed, they have that favor. They have the history that might favor them. But Hmble, as tabletoppers of Contenders, given the skill gap being very, very minimal, if existent at all, between Contenders and Majors, you think lower Contenders, Lionscreed, upper Contenders, the very top for Hmble, there's really not that much to separate them.
No, there really isn't. It's a brilliant indication of how much these sort of divisions can play out, because Lionscreed, like we've said, they've been finalists a number of times. They are past champions, and it's really strange to see them having to fight their way through these brackets. On the last day of the regular season, they lost, I believe it was to Arctic, who managed to book their place in the next quarterfinal. And
yes,
if Lionscreed win here, then they get to try and take the revenge against Arctic and say, you made us play 2 extra best of 3s. We are coming at you and we want to get further. That is the plan, I think, for Steno and the lot.
Yeah, that was a very strange defeat on Clubhouse, a 3-7 for Lionscreed against Arctic on that final play day. And I'm thinking, depending on the maps today, I actually haven't seen what the maps are today. Have we got those done yet?
Yeah.
Can we have a look? I'm very interested to see what we've got. Because there are certain maps where you don't want to take most of these teams. And, ooh, an interesting selection, Jerry.
You are our stats man, certainly, so you'll know the sort of the real numbers behind this. But Consulate seems like an odd choice, especially against a Lionscreed side that, let's face it, they're definitely kind of lacking in the same kind of organization that we've seen in the past, which is just by nature of their situation, but they're still incredibly talented players. I feel as though Consulate is one of these kind of battlegrounds where crazy things can happen. You don't necessarily need to be 100% on it with your strategies. If you've got the kind of the verve, the tenacity to pull off insane plays, they can make a huge difference. You've got 3 staircases that go right from the top to the bottom on every across the map, and that gives defenders, especially and roamers, so much maneuverability, so many options. A Steno roaming, a Heavy, all these players, Robitusin even like on his games has really shown up, and I'm a bit worried for that as a first choice. But the rest of the ban phase, Clubhouse, Oregon, I mean, you'll probably know more about those than I do.
Yeah, there's quite a few things to mention about most of these maps. You have just hinted about the players for a second. One of which is not Heavy, as he's not in the squad this time around. Big impact player in the past. He's not in. Instead, we've got Noodle, who joined across from the old Footprint roster, who left near the end of Majors. He is now in that squad. Obviously, ex-Lionscreed, quite a few teams in and around the place, but he put a good showing up in the previous play day in the first game against Revenge, where Lionscreed came out victors. It's looking like a strong lineup. The issue is that teamwork. Revenge, they definitely had a better idea of what strategy they wanted to do, and being there for each other and being familiar with the strategies and the play style in general. That could be the issue for Lionscreed here against a Hmble Academy roster that hasn't seen as many changes.
No, that Hmble Academy roster as well, like, when I've seen them, they've been terrifying. Sam, the Rampage, he was on a rampage the other day. I'm trying to recall exactly which team it was against. It was against Team Unknown. Yeah, they absolutely curb stomped Unknown, to be quite honest with you. That was 7-2 on Clubhouse, their first map. That was scary. And yeah, if it does, I mean, it will go to Clubhouse. That's the second map, but Clubhouse is one to watch out for them on. In fact, we saw both Clubhouse and Oregon from Hmble on this against Team Unknown.
These maps, Jerry. Looking at the stats from this season, Hmble have played a lot of Consulate and Clubhouse. They have won out Consulate twice. They look pretty strong on it. I'm thinking that's a great map for them. It's a map we haven't seen Lionscreed play. I don't believe we've seen them play it in 2 seasons, if that's correct. They haven't played it this season, and they didn't play it last season, as far as my memory goes. They very, very rarely play Consulate, at the very least. So that's a good one for Hmble. It does have that unpredictability of Lionscreed, but at the same time, it's probably a sensible choice if they want to try and take that map. Second, Clubhouse. Tough map to take Lionscreed too. They know what they're doing there. They played it against Revenge and came out winners as well in the last playday. But at the same time, it's a strong map for Hmble, so why not? It's only Oregon that I'm concerned about from a Hmble perspective. That is a Lionscreed. I mean, it's a lion's den. It's a horrible place you don't want to go to. So I'm thinking if Hmble have the best chance of trying to take this victory, they're going to do it 2-0 rather than a 2-1.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a 2-0 either way. I don't... as much as it makes more sense to predict the winner of the second map, I just think that momentum is going to carry either of these teams through. If Lionscreed take a map, they're taking a second. Like, that is just how I think about it. They're not going to let that momentum slow them down. But if Hmble can take Consulate, I feel as though that's the map that favours Lionscreed the most. And as much as you've said about Oregon, it's going to be... I think Hmble, they've shown so much consistency throughout the season. On best of ones, to be fair. So this is just a different proving ground. And I think before the season started, I made my prediction that Lionscreed would finish somewhere middling in the table and then they just win the whole thing. Because they show up for these brackets. They show up for the eliminations. So, yeah, speaking of showing up, we are just about ready to go into our game. We have all the readies in the lobby, and in case it was not revealed to you just yet, I'm observing this game as well. A little bit of a last-minute switch-up, so I'm going to be doing double duty, so Ebac can do most of the heavy talking. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy this. I haven't done the observing casting thing in a while, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Good fun. Well, hopefully it won't be as choppy and weird as the last time. Do you remember that Chalet game on the last play day of Open?
Oh, goodness me,
it was just
different setup,
drama.
so I think we'll be a lot cleaner this time. Don't worry. If you did watch that, then yeah, it's going to be different. So we are just about ready to go. Let's get going.
That was Hmble, wasn't it?
It might have been Hmble. They've had a rough time of it when it comes to the streams. I do feel sorry for some of the contenders teams that didn't get their fair share of streams this season. But now the playoffs are here, and you are getting feasted.
Yeah, it was Hmble Academy actually. Yeah. 6 on Chalet. Got it right here.
Adria had a rough season. Let's be fair. They did not.
They were hard done by because they came in with 2 losses that they'd adopted from the previous team that they came in from, and then gave a decent performance afterwards. They went even/positive kind of with their games, so it was pretty good from them. Anywho, here we are in the ban phase of Consulate. This is where you can shake things up if you're a Lionscreed who maybe didn't expect to be here today. Depends how much and how thoroughly they went through. They've banned out the standard of Thatcher. Are Hmble going to bring something that might mix things up somewhat and really trouble Lionscreed's plans?
I'm not sure. On a map such as Consulate, you're very likely to get some off-kilter bans. Nomad is probably... in fact, this is more staple than anything on Consulate. Usually you'd be surprised. Maybe Villa, she sees a bit of bannage, but here is... bannage is a new word I'm gonna start throwing into my...
I was talking about the Steno's motivational speech. I want to hear some of that.
Oh, I really want to. Oh, this is where I wish we had player cams. Dipping into their team speaks or whatnot. But yeah, this duo of bans, the Nomad and the Valkyrie, very common on Consulate in particular. Just the importance of the outside of this building cannot be understated. We saw it a lot. It was talked about a lot over 6 Invitational, where Nomad provides you so much security when you're rappelling on these powerful window positions, and Valkyrie, she gives you the opportunity on the defense to try and do something about it. But without either of them, it's going to play out a lot more differently. Kaid and Thatcher being the other side of the coin, much more kind of objective focused, protection, breaching focused bans there. And not too much to talk about, really. This is about as standard as it gets. You're going to see breaching Denial certainly in the form of maybe Bandits, more likely Mutes because he's super powerful in this current meta. But besides that, this is about as standard as it gets.
Yeah, Hmble Academy, they're not really mixing too many things up. They were the team to ban Thatcher and Kaid on their previous time playing here on Consulate against Hedgehog Peak earlier in the season. 7-5 again. They love the 7-5, which will be fine for them today, but they really don't want to try and bring it that close with Lionscreed because they will take any little chance you give them if it's that close. But actually, we do have a heavy in the lineup. I believe I didn't see that on the rosters, but
we were a little bit late posting the rosters, but it's they did confirm Heavy, so he's playing, and he's been a solid smoke player for most of the season, so they'd be certainly worse off without him. I'm glad to see him here.
Well, to be fair, he's not had a stellar performance this season after his absolute heroics of the previous one. In the winter season, he was absolutely unstoppable, and I think he rounded it off perfectly in the final with that wonderful triple on Theme Park and a very strong performance to beat out Jaegers.
I miss Theme Park, man.
He's good. It was pretty good. Hebby was certainly enjoying himself, but less so this season. He's been under 0.7 KD for most of the season. He has been playing a bit more of a supporting role. But he hasn't played too many games. Lionscreed, that is their issue. As we spoke about a lot during their game against Revenge, this switching around of players in their roster over and over has really seen them stumble in terms of team play, which is one of the biggest issues. And how you beat them is to play as a strong team unit yourself and to be sometimes unpredictable. That aggression that we were talking about so much. Oh no. Speaking of aggression, there's one. Simo's down on the buck. Nice peek from Noodle. Did he peek
There
out
he
the
is.
bottom of yellow door? I think
Yeah, it must have been. I missed that one. I do apologise. I was catching some bans, and now I've missed the second one. Steno getting Andrea there, and this is the story of Consulate. Basically, if you don't get inside the building safely, then you're going to struggle. But Alex and Sam have done so, and they're beginning to push up. I spoke too soon. Robutusin immediately shutting down the Ash, and now it's a 2 versus 5 with only a minute left. Ebac, what's happened?
I think I'm about 10 seconds behind the feed because you're saying things very fast.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Just refresh.
That means that you should cast.
Oh, that
Otherwise, I'm giving spoilers.
Oh, are you actually ahead of the stream by quite a bit? Maybe.
Yeah. So you've got to cast. Otherwise, I give spoilers.
Well, Jerry's just such a good caster that he knows exactly what's going to happen way before it does. But back in the human world, it's me trying to gas towards Kygos here in a 1 versus 5. Takes down Steno, and players of Lionscreed going incredibly aggressive towards his position. Almost being a bit overly risky, but if you're doing multiple peaks, you could catch him off, and Panda certainly does. No need for a refrag. He finally gets that onto Kygos. Takes the first round. Lionscreed, it's exactly the thing you expect from Lionscreed. Over-aggression, peaks, and Hmble Academy. They didn't get a chance to play.
Yeah, and the verbal's already coming out from Steno. Like, you know that's going to happen. But it's a situation that they're going to favour, right? They're defending first on Consulate. You've got to expect hella peaks from them. And it looked as though, to be fair, Hmble kind of wanted to take those fights, but they just lost them all. It was nice to see Alec get inside the building. And that's where the praise ends, unfortunately. There was very little else to sort of sing home about there for Hmble Academy. They obviously will know that's it doesn't take a genius to dissect that round. They want to get inside the building, they want to avoid these spawn peaks, or at least pick off the players that are peeking them, and this could be a very, very fraggy Consulate I think we're about to see.
Yeah, that's definitely the expectation with the players that we've got on the lineup. Not just Lionscreed, as everybody pretty much knows. We've got players who have been topping the charts in terms of stats for the last few seasons of ECS. But Hmble as well, relatively new players to the scene. But Sam, you were telling me just before the game, he's been, suitably on a rampage as of late. And I keep my eyes on Alec the majority of the time, running around as the general Ash Jaeger main, you would say, getting a lot of kills and some very impactful ones as well. Not speaking poorly of the rest of the lineup, they are all very capable as well, just not quite stepping up to it that round. So this time around, we're on the basement here. Lionscreed going for a very different defensive strategy. Lots of players playing quite passive downstairs, but the players upstairs, Panda and I believe Steno, going for some aggressive moves, and there's the first for Panda.
Yeah, we can see the gathering on this side of the map here from Hmble. They look like they're prepping for a very quick entry. I'm going to throw to the play-by-play from you in a second, Ebac, because this is going to be a messy one.
It's definitely likely. The player with the diffuser drops, as does the player by White Van. Now Andrea stuck in the middle between a rock and a hard place. Takes down the Milusi, but is down in response. Alec finds 2 himself, dipping inside of yellow stairs, and suddenly it's in a 1 versus 1. And a crazy rush attempt kind of gone wrong, but then somewhat rescued by Alec. So a technical 1 versus 3 turned around here, but he's low health and he's got evil eyes looking at him. Noodle sitting there quite comfortably with all that intel. Gonna be tough. He's gonna have to quickly deal with those evil eyes or just blast on through. He's being zapped. This could be the death knell for him. He's running straight past. He can't stick around in that spot. His position known. He's going for the wall bang, but it's Noodle, the older, just superior above the R4C, and Alec, despite his efforts, loses another round. 2-0 for Lionscreed.
And that tickle damage from the Evil Eye really making a difference, as well as the zap on the drone. A bit of intel in that situation could have been the difference for Alec, but unfortunately, just spraying through the wall with 81 bullets against the 10 HP Ash, it will get you a win. In 9 out of 10 circumstances, that's gonna work. So it's good. He made the chance for himself there, and it may have looked a bit messy at the end, but honestly, that was a very smart play. Heads up play from the Maestro. So Yeah, an early advantage established by LC. Once again, the early peak coming through. This time, Panda getting that one, and then
Hebby.
It was just about the time for a quick rush into sight. They wanted to get it, over and done with. And you have highlighted something that I will let you talk about, because this is a trademark of Heavy's now.
It is, yeah. He's been playing a good amount of Clash this season. I haven't been keeping up too much with my.
You've got a present coming your way.
I feel like I do. Ella? He's saying Ella. Oh no, wait. Heavy, you've made one mistake. One, I love you. Two, E-back is full caps. Come on. You should know that. But anyway, good effort. Heavy, he's been a pretty consistent Clash player throughout this season. And the last time we saw Clash here on Consulate, in Majors at the very least, was by Noodle, when he was playing for the Footprint roster. Do you remember that game, Jerry? Because you were there in that trio cast. It was a 2 versus 1 Noodle.
Oh yeah, and we threw it to you because we were like, it's gonna be a Clash clutch. We're like, we have to give it to you back. Yeah, that was great. I love that. It's a lot of fun. Why is it like we always end up in weird kind of situations of spectating and multicasting on Consulate?
I don't know. I mean, we always cast together on Consulate. I don't think we've ever casted a game that hasn't had a Consulate map on it before. Anyway, Noodle takes down Simo at the very start of the round. Again, over-aggression from Lionscreed, but it's not being punished whatsoever.
No, it's certainly not. We can see that early pick again from Rabitu Sin. And this is leaving Lionscreed in a very favourable position. They are getting perhaps a little bit greedy, a little bit over-aggressive in these situations now. We can expect some pushes to come through. Alec does take down Panda. Kygos is expecting this run out, but he will be slain at range. And now it's just 2 versus 4. Alec and Andrea once again left in a very unfavourable position. Alec has been in these clutch positions already. We've seen him try and clutch up on Garage, but now pace is going to slow down a little bit as they still have drones, still have time, and 4 players to hunt.
Yeah, the man count not favourable, but they do have the tools at their disposal, especially those drones, just to figure out where the remaining players are. They will soon be alerted to the presence of Heavy, who is running the P10C, by the way, up on the top floor, in case he needs to pull it out. He'll be hoping that Robit can provide that support with the Roni, a slightly more reliable weapon. And here comes Heavy. Andrea, not quite sure where the support is. And fell down the hatch. Not sure that was intentional. But here comes Heavy, exposed partially by the drop, but the split push comes, and another pistol kill comes out. But it's actually Heavy as the Mozzie pushes, pulls the shield away, takes down the gridlock. And now it's all down to Alec inside of the basement, being pushed from 3 different players, 2 different directions, too much to handle. Steno gets another round for Lionscreed, and this is an absolute stomp right now.
It is. I actually haven't even had time between rounds to write down the round count. And I've just noticed the last time I wrote on my page, it said 1-0 Lionscreed. It's now 3-0. So take from that what you will. A perfect cycle of sites. Opting not to defend the split site on the bottom floor. But it's a bottom and middle floor. But we didn't even get to see lobby action that round. That could have been any site that we were just watching defend. This is how Lionscreed you'd expect them to play on this map. And, we've seen them bring out the Clash for the lobby defense before. It especially helps on the top floor roam. But she was so dynamic that round. She was putting into admin, dropping down into Visa, giving chase at one point to the last player. Heavy just has a wild time with all the gunners around him and a massive shield on his front.
That's a luxury you can enjoy as a Lionscreed player, and 3-0 is a very good position to be sitting in. It's just bizarre from Hmble. I'm surprised by what we've seen so far. It's so lackluster. This isn't the
Hmble we've come to expect really good things from Hmble over the past few weeks, or few months in fact, in ECS, and they've been doing fairly well in the Nats League as well. So I believe they're PG Nats side, and they've been doing nicely. They've enjoyed their time there, and this is essentially a tier 3 team. playing here, and Lionscreed are making them look like amateurs. This is this is why people have been saying, like, Lionscreed, you've got to keep watch out for these players. As soon as they become available, they are hot property. So yeah, this is an advertisement for all these gunners, and you can expect these big names to be in big places fairly soon. But right now they're not worried about that. They are trying to win a map against Hmble Academy. They're doing quite a good job of it so far. Once again, going for these aggressive spawn peaks. We've got everyone on the side of Hmble Academy on full alert and expecting these pushes, expecting these peaks. But for once, it seems as though Lionscreed are a little bit more passive.
They should have been expecting it from the start. I don't think they knew who... Like, do you know who you're playing? This is a bit bizarre. But Steno, full force, he's just able to do whatever he wants, roam around. Even Hmble as the supporting smoke, he can just go around peeking things. It's what they do. They're just enjoying themselves, it seems. And when a team, you're watching them and it looks like they're having fun, it's rare that team loses the game.
Sorry, something cool's about to happen.
Something cool did happen.
I've got to hand it over to you because things are happening and I can't pretend I'm predicting the future. It's just too weird.
That was the first thing that happened. The second one was Steno getting his kill as well. Zero and Ash down. And now still players remaining outside of the map. Hard to make too much ingress. It's just the Jackal downstairs. And he's one of two now. Simo remaining on the roof. Complete opposite sides of the map. Simo's position is known. He's going to cook that nade and try and take one, if not two. He gets the first. That's Robit. Now 4 more players to deal with. And this split move could work out for the Jackal as he's finding the feet of these defenders. I think Panda's aware because of that Inox track. Bit unfortunate. If Sam had actually shown a bit more patience there and not gone for it, he could have snuck up behind and found one. He does take the kill anyway. Panda lost in that position for Lionscreed, despite the fact that he knew Sam's position, but Steno finds him with absolute precision. Head removed. Simo, last chance. Hmble again in a 1 versus 3. Alec found 2 himself on the basement attack, but here on the top floor, Simo, it's looking a bit tougher and a lot less time.
A lot less time indeed. He cooks his frag grenade, but it sails past and gets caught by the ADS. Does land a headshot onto Noodle. Very nice work by him. He's in 1 versus 2 now with about 30 seconds left. Going to push through Printer. He's got plenty of options here, but not much time. He's got the sledgehammer to break his way through here and make another route, but does he expect to play a tight right around the corner? Looks like he's swinging to get for pre-fire. There's a shield in play, but Hmble steps up with a shotgun to the chest and Simo falls in a heap. Lionscreed claiming their 4th round on the trot.
You're not beating Hmble in that position. Smoke with the shield. Easy enough to lap that one up, and the support was there across from the other site as well, just in case it was needed. But it wasn't. Lionscreed, they don't need that extra man. They are absolutely on top right now. Even in that 1 versus 1 that we saw earlier, Alec versus, I believe it was Noodle on the Maestro. You could just feel the confidence oozing out of the Lionscreed team, and this is not the Lionscreed we even saw last week. They gave a decent performance against Revenge, but that was a Revenge team who just didn't show up that day. I don't know what was going on with them. It was not the Revenge we'd seen throughout at least the first half of the league season, where they were sitting comfortably in second. Fell off performance-wise during the second half, and they really hadn't picked it up since. So very disappointing from them. And Lionscreed didn't look too fantastic either. Here, a complete turnaround, and it's actually quite a pleasure to see them here on Consulate, because we don't get to see them here that often, and I'm not sure why they don't bring it along.
Well, in a best of 3, it's far more likely to make its way through the ban phase, right? And they take full advantage of it. It's a good option, but the strange thing is that it was Humble's pick, if I'm not mistaken. So
yes,
yeah. Either way, it seemed happy to play it, but I mean, obviously they're doing very well on it, but. Yeah, I am surprised. I don't know why they don't.
What's Humble's plan here? I'm just a little confused.
Don't die.
They've done. Yes, I suppose.
That should be their plan, right?
That's their current plan. It probably wasn't the one they started with, but you know what? They're failing the plan. Alex down from another peek from Panda. Steno pulls out the RG-15 and finds his own. This is unfair.
It is. This is just cheating, and we've seen an attempt at an entry there from Steno. We've got a kill on the north side, but also a bit of a refrag, delayed refrag onto Steno. So some chance here, but again, Simo and Kyrgos in or 2 versus 4. That was like the first 30 seconds. This is consular. You have to be prepared for this playstyle, especially against these players. And I don't understand why Hmble aren't sort of counteracting this at this point.
Maybe they were listening to me too much when I've been trying to play down Lionscreed a bit this season. Or maybe they've taken their games this season a bit too directly. This is not the Lionscreed that we've seen a lot throughout the season, because the Lionscreed roster keeps changing and chopping all over the place. They finally found a bit of stability with this lineup, but thankfully Simo's there to pick up the pieces a little bit. It's now a 3 versus 1. Still not ideal. Hmble have been in this position numerous times. Simo was here in the last round, and despite the fact he found the first, he's found the first here in the 1 versus 4, still got a long way to go. Thankfully this time he does have time, 2 frag grenades as well, to buy himself time from a particular angle, potentially, but Lionscreed, they're eyeing up that 5-0, and shortly after you get that, or even if you don't, you're looking towards a win.
Yeah, it looks as though it's going to be a difficult job in this 1 versus 3. Oh, he doesn't expect the player there. And again, the shotgun to Simo. Is this deja vu? This exactly how the last round ended. And yeah, he's prone in the right spot, it seemed. Bam. What a surprise. That's a very nice way of doing it. Brilliant.
I'm gonna go on a heavy rant now. I'm gonna keep it short this time. And it's not just because he was very nice to me earlier. He is one of the best positional players I've ever seen, like that I've ever casted. Definitely.
I mean, the man plays smoke and clash. Like,
I mean,
it's 90% positioning, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to do that to rock these positions. He looks like he's gonna bring it out again here on Lobby and Press. This is one of those sites where you can show it, and there's no reason that you'd unshow it, because she's so strong here, whether it's on the top floor or otherwise. I mean, generally you do want to start on the top and then work your way down if hatches are open. Steno, he's picking away from that Tachanka, unfortunately. I would love to see a bit of Steno Tachanka as well, but unfortunately picked away and on to the Maestro. But this is looking like that footprint round that we were speaking about earlier, Jerry. Do you remember that one where it was Rook, Boss G, Vigil and Clash? And then the Vigil gets a Boss G headshot all the way across the top floor. I believe that was Cat Solar, or I think it was Killiator, actually.
Steno's even rocking the ACS 12.
Yes. I mean, that's a proper suspended move, actually. Who isn't around anymore, unfortunately. But
no, I'm trying to recall what team he's playing for. He was in Yukin too, I think.
Oh, really? Suspended. I just knew he left after Playday 2, and I miss him.
Yeah, he definitely playing in Yukin 2 for some team. I just cannot recall exactly.
Let us know, chat.
Yeah, go on, remind me. So yeah, this is the way to play it. When you're playing this aggressive, you get the good long range guns out, and you let them do the work.
Well, there we go. We've been given a bit of a hope. Robit takes it. I needed a breather there, and you know what? Hmble, they've taken their time. They've found it within them to get the entry frag this time around. I imagine Robit might have missed that first shot or so with the Boss G. Didn't quite find it, and it doesn't give you that much room to be comfortable once you miss at least a shot, if not both of them. Steno on low health as well. The quick move up from the basement here. A very smart move from Sam, but Heavy is smart in response. Spins around with that shield, not being caught off, but now he's the 1 versus 5. This will be the Clash player of the season if he manages to get anything, but he doesn't. Shut down by Alec. And how best to respond to going 5-0 down? Get 5-0 up within the round. At least they managed to get the flawless and assert themselves somewhat. They corrected things right at the end.
That they did. And these guys are like speedrunning Consulate right now. even though that was a Hmble round, it was a very quick one as well.
You know why? You know why they're doing this? Because Heavy wants to watch the Battlefield reveal.
Of course, he wants to watch the Battlefield.
He wants to get this map finished as quickly as possible and then take a long rehost.
He's made a pact with the other side. Like, you guys lose as quickly as possible.
We'll give you map 2, and then we'll battle it out on Oregon.
The chat is too distracting right now.
Yes.
If you've just joined us, by the way, this is an interesting situation we've got. I'm both observing and casting for some reason, and it's not working because what you're seeing is 10 seconds or so, about 7 or 8 seconds ahead of what I'm observing. So as soon as it gets to a tense moment, I'm throwing to eBack because I don't want to like give you spoilers. Although I did get to play-by-play that one round where you threw to me for a 1 versus 3.
Yes.
And I just spectated the sledge, and that worked because I watched it on my second monitor as though I wasn't spectating on my first one. So thanks, it worked out a way that I can do play-by-play today.
Yeah.
But hopefully between maps we'll sort something out and make it a little bit more serviceable for both you guys at home and us, because this is hurting my brain, quite honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's what a good play-by-play does. If it gets to a 1 versus X, you throw it to your colour and they can fill in all the gaps.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I think you told me that. Anyway, Lionscreed, anywho, in a good position despite that round loss. Hmble, it'll give them a tiny bit of motivation, but it can't be that motivating when you're 5-1 down anyway. But the comeback could still happen from this position. Maybe they've got those fantastic defenses themselves. Steno, he's taken defensive measures, certainly a precaution peeking towards these windows of bringing that shield to block his eye line, as well as another kill coming out here. Actually, the first one, this round, from Noodle, starting things off in the advantage for Lionscreed. Yet again, gonna get tired of saying that pretty soon. And there's a close engagement potentially coming here between the Vigil and the Jaeger towards this Sophia of Robit, who's still going aggressive, not aware of the Vigil's positioning yet. Could be potentially a double wall bang, and nope, he gets it. It's taken down by the Vigil in the end. Heavy picks up another in response, so keeping Lionscreed comfortably in the lead. Sam's going for a double peek, but no, doesn't look directly up. He looks across at the other player and doesn't shoot. A bit odd there, but taken down. It's a worthy risk in a 4 versus 2. 2 versus 4 for Hmble in that position, but it doesn't work out. Now just Andrea remaining.
This situation is so horrible for Andrea. He knows that all the players are on rappel right now. He basically can't move. He's locked into a single location with all these guns staring. He dies going for the run out, trying to get Panda, but Panda is just waiting, arms open, to gather match point for Lionscreed. 6-1, says Steno.
That is match correct. Point, most importantly.
Thanks, Steno. It's not like that number isn't right. I just realised he's been giving us like round by round updates on the score. Thanks.
It's tell him thanks. It's good to know.
Maybe it was because I mentioned that I wasn't writing down the rounds earlier.
Maybe it was. Maybe he's listening.
It's handy
along.
If I have to rehost, then he's
I wouldn't put it past Steno to watch the stream along, listen to us, and mute all his teammates, and then just shout at them, but not actually.
That's how you get the proper analysis, right?
Yeah. It's the IGL who just tells his players what to do, but doesn't listen to what they have to say. So you just mute them and then keep yelling. And you are the voice of reason. That's a proper shift move at the very least. But I imagine, Steno's got a bit of that in his locker. Anywho, Lionscreed 6-1 at the moment. I said Hmble might give a few rounds away because they tend to do that, and Lionscreed will lap it up, but I did not expect this. I don't think anyone expected this. This has been absolutely dominant, and if your prediction is correct, Jerry, map-wise, with that whole, win first map, you win the second, Hmble are in for a really rough clubhouse coming up next.
Well, that prediction was based on, LC having some momentum, and by God do they have momentum right now. They lost the round before last, but that was that's just a hiccup in the grand scheme of things, right? Finally, we're going to see a little bit of the aggression that Lionscreed brought from their defenses on the side of Hmble, playing the map to its advantages and actually going for these early peaks. But besides that bit of damage that Panda took from the early peak from Alec, it looks like he is actually kind of sitting back a bit more conservatively now, and the rest of the players are just holed up on the site. Breach will be coming through fairly soon, and Ibak I'm going to have to throw it to you because I have no idea how explosive this is going to get with all the LC players stacked outside of Garage.
Yeah, this doesn't bode well for Hmble if they're not ready for it. Angle's being held, Noodle on the upside down repel for that post plant, most importantly, or any close players. What a weird move out from Simo, an overly aggressive move in that position, and now that puts more pressure on the players remaining. It does mean that Hmble, they do have time to maybe open an angle or two if the Vigil can use that impact. Alex still has time to go to press, open the angle. It is definitely open. I see a hole there if he can get across and try and provide pressure towards this push. It's a bit slow from Lionscreed. They're actually taking their time rather than rushing in straight away, and now they're splitting the attention. Hebi and Panda, I believe, moving across and round, while Steno dies towards the breach. So a very different plan to what we expected, Jerry, and you might actually have some time here.
Potentially, but it looks as though Alex is going to take the matters into his own hands, gets a run out, pushing up to the breach, sees the dangling Spider-Man, and takes out Rabutusin, and now he's dealt with by Hebi. Now Hebi left in the 1 versus 3, playing from above. He's got some holes to work with, does have some live pings. In fact, he has a ping he's provided himself, and now he's going to spray through the floor to try and confirm that, but he doesn't quite get anything. 1 minute 11 seconds left. And Hmble Academy might be clawing themselves slowly but surely back into this game.
It's heavy magic or bust, and that's, you know, it's more reliable than a lot of players, just hoping for something magical. We've seen him pull out some incredible strategies. He's going 8-2 so far this game, so correcting any KD issues I was talking about with himself earlier on. Really having a good time, and that's been him. He's been playing on Clash and Smoke the majority of these rounds as well. You know, so with the aggression that's been coming out from his teammates, that's a pretty good stead to be sitting in. 35 seconds left, 3 players. I see what you're laughing about now. Steno, he's not correct this time with the call. It is 6-1 in rounds, but they're eyeing up that 6-2, the defenders, and they seal it with a lovely toss of a toxic canister from the smoke. Easy enough for a Hmble win. Maybe this is just the most... Maybe this is just the most incredibly defender-sided consulate we're going to see.
It could be, and I'm going to have to do a quick pause here because we do have a player that's managed to drop out of the game. Heavy, you cannot deny the pause. So we're coming back to our cams for a brief minute or two. Steno's protesting. I can't deal with Lionscreed, man. They're just... They're so
observing
naughty.
them
so very naughty.
Everything to do with Lionscreed is a nightmare, and that's true for Hmble right now because their defensive performance was outstanding, but at the same time, it shows an incredible amount of weakness from Hmble. At the same time, it just wasn't very professional from them. There are ways that you can overcome like the over-aggression from the opposite team. There are ways you can get to the building. I had this whole... It's the same thing playing out in my mind. It was over in ESA. We saw the Footprint roster, who were in ECS this season, against Anarchic's Disciples. We saw them for a whole map not get into the building. They all died in the spawn, round after round. It was Spoit peaking with the RG-15. We've seen similar things coming out from Steno and the rest of the team getting incredibly aggressive, but there are ways to overcome it. You can just spawn somewhere else. You can just be a bit safer. You can do what Lionscreed at least did to get a bit closer to the building, but the execute was not quite there from them in the end. Hmble really stepping up defensive-wise, and that's their hope this time around. Keep the aggression coming out. That's what could catch off Lionscreed here, as well as just the smart team play when it comes to those latter positions. I feel that's the thing that Hmble will be best at this game, is the kind of close 3 versus 3 positions, limited on time, the sort of thing we're likely to see more of on Clubhouse and Oregon. If they can get to that position here on Consulate, they will be great. Then the reason they've been struggling so much, I think, is just because they haven't got there.
Yeah, that's the long and short of it, is that they just need to get... Well, they can't do it anymore. They're no longer in a position where they can get close to the building as attackers, because they just failed their attacking arc fairly miserably. 5-1 split, in case you've just joined us, is not the way you want to go. Granted, it can be one of these sort of aggressor-favoured maps, not necessarily attacker-favoured, but just whoever takes the gunfights first. And... LC have done that. That's how they're winning right now. We're going to see a lobby defense here with a slightly different style. We've got the Echo being brought out, 6 picked onto from the Maestro, so well
Is
hidden.
Is he the operator you're talking about right now, Jerry? Look at this Lionscreed team.
Oh god. Yeah, you're right. I can't. This is
oh no,
the horrible meta from like a few years ago now, but plus Amaru.
Yeah, the Dokkaebi alongside the Lion is a nightmare enough as it is, but the Blackbeard and the Amaru on top of it. Well, that being said, the Amaru has blasted in upstairs and has been taken down very easily, but a refrag not quite going to be able to be confirmed inside of the bathroom, as Sam is quite safe within there. But with Panda sitting on the antechamber window, well, across from Harpsichord, it's going to be a really tough move for any of the players inside to get that revive across. Alec has a trade, Heavy getting the better of that, but it's won out by Hmble in the end. 3 versus 2 of standing players. It's going to be a bit of an easier revive. The pings coming out, thanks to that EE1D, will give Lionscreed a bit of intel. But Steno's fallen off the roof, hasn't he? He's fallen off the roof.
I couldn't myself when I saw that. I was like, oh no. Oh, I love getting these spoilers. It's great.
I can just hear you laughing. I mean, to be fair, that's something that is actually quite enjoyable, hearing you giving us a little bit of warning that something funny is coming, and it certainly was rather humorous. Lionscreed won't be laughing right now because they need to try and seal this round. They don't want Hmble to take too many and get this kind of momentum, this comeback mood coming for them. But thankfully Steno, now that he does get up onto the top floor, is going to hack those cameras and give them a little bit of info, as well as finding a kill onto Sam. Steno really finding a good way back in for Lionscreed, and those dead players, despite the fact all the utility's gone, no breaching ability for Noodle, they have the cameras, and most importantly, those Echo Yokais giving the position of all the site players. It does mean there is no site presence now from Hmble. They will be very much aware of that Lionscreed, the external hold here coming out from their opposition.
So yeah, it's just a bit of a waiting game here with about 40 seconds left, and it looks like they're a bit dry on intel, unfortunately. 1 flash grenade, that's all they have in pocket, and timer is ticking as time goes on. The defenders get more powerful. 1 toxic gas canister left as well, and only a couple of lion charges left in pocket as well. Let's see how this pans out, D-back.
It'll freeze some of these players in these tight positions, and Kygos, he's being split pushed. 2 players come for him. It's actually a trade in the end. Heavy's now sticking this plant. Andrea is nearby, but he's going to have to jump off Heavy here. He hears the pressure coming across. Split push, and with those yokais in position, he knows where they are as well. He has to go aggressive. 1 second left. There's no time. And now he has no head. Andrea takes the round. Hmble Academy finding their way back into this game gradually. But you know what? That 1 round that they took on the attack, I mean, bar, you know, a standard Lionscreed strong play, if it does come all the way back to 6-5, then that round might have been their bit of advantage there to work their way back in, because that's 3 rounds in a row here from Hmble, I think. No, sorry. 2 rounds in a row from them. 3 in total.
It's the first time they managed to string rounds together at the very least, so they might be feeling the wind in their sails. Alec as well has been having a very nice game comparatively, but everyone on the side of Lionscreed stepping up in the frag department so far. Heavy, he's leading the charge. That's nice to see from him. Usually it's Steno right up there, or any one of these other players. Heavy is more on the support role quite often, but yeah, supports can frags, it turns out. It's nice to see. We've got ourselves a top floor defense now from Hmble. CEO being their first site that they went to defend, and they lost this site. We remember the Repel game coming through essentially from Lionscreed. They gave them a masterclass to Hmble on how to actually approach the building without dying, and that's what made the difference essentially. So there needs to be perhaps a little more aggression from Hmble. I don't know, maybe they don't sit tight and wait for these crossfires to just be established, because as soon as you've got, you know, 3 or 4 people on Repel for Lionscreed, you just send someone up yellow, you send someone up Visa stairs, and suddenly the Hmble defenders, they have to start squirming, and that just feeds into the wonderful fishing lines of those repelling players, and it could happen again. And the way that you counter that is you just pick them off before they get there.
Yeah. That's been the most important thing so far this game for the defensive and attacking sides apiece, is just that aggression, making sure that the players are under pressure, dealt with, down on health, or just frankly worried sitting in some of these positions. But there isn't too much aggression coming out right now. I think it'd just be Alec who might be jumping out bench's window towards Panda. I had to wait and see on that. But it's the bans, I think. They worked against Hmble earlier in the game. They banned out that Nomad and were really punished because Juiceplay, the operator they need the most on their attacks. Now they can start to use the fact that they have the ban themselves against Lionscreed, and they're not. I don't really see too much evidence of them using it that much. Lionscreed, they've very comfortably been able to get to the roof. Lots of players sitting on Repel in a comfortable position, and that Valkyrie ban could be part of it as well. They've kind of double whammied themselves, but thankfully they have got the first frag here onto the Jackal.
There's a whole host of people just sitting in bathroom right now, and this push up the yellow stairs could be the way forward. And Panda is getting aggressive now. He does just about manage to take out the Melusi, and the kill feed lights up. Heavy getting another. Panda with a second. I didn't even catch that with my future vision. And Andrea now left in a 1 versus 2 against Robitussin and Noodle, who they have site control. They have site control. They have diffuser. And Noodle could start planting inside a CEO anytime soon. He certainly will do that. Andrea just lurking beneath. He needs to get some play off, but the diffuser's going to be set. He has a C4 in hand, but he doesn't have the intel. He just throws it into connector, and that's not going to do. But it is going to claim Robitussin. Maybe the intel coming through for him there. Noodle left in the 1 versus 1. What's he doing in this situation? He's gone outside. He's on Repel. You can see his silhouette. Just waiting. Got a 1 versus 1 here. Andrea managed to force his way back into the site. He's opening up the windows.
Go for it.
20 seconds left. He could go for it. He could try and long arm it, but the difficulty is, does Noodle try and respond? Does Noodle swing in? He just has to bait it constantly. He comes off, comes on again. 12 seconds left. He's come off again, and now you've got to stick it. No, there's no more time. He goes out for the kill, and Noodle takes his head off anyway. Lionscreed claim the final round just about. Round 10 goes in their favour, and that's a 7-3 victory on Consulate.
Bit of a rampage from Lionscreed at the end there, midway through that round at the very least. Panda coming alive, taking down that very, very bathroom-focused hold from their opposition of Hmble. But they didn't really have too much opposition that game. Obviously, the defenders do have that big favour on this map, clearly with the bans and the way that everything was working out on Lionscreed's side as well. The defenders had that edge by nature, but still not enough from Hmble. They really didn't offer anything there on Consulate, a map they are statistically very good at. Their second best map statistically is Clubhouse. That's where we're going. Hopefully from then, it can be a bit more routine. They have really flourished in games where it's been quite slow tempo, and they've had a lot of time to do whatever they want. That's why they've come out on top against Unknown, who aren't the fastest of teams, you know, in terms of efficiency. So they've enjoyed that, whether it was in the playoffs earlier or during the season as well. They beat them out again, 7-5, but they can't afford to let things be this close. They've already lost the one map. They're coming to Clubhouse, a very strong Lionscreed map. Can they turn it around? Well, I think we're going to take a quick break, and hopefully for Hebby it will be a long one so we can watch that battlefield reveal, but we'll see you back in at least a few minutes and get right on into the action for map 2. Hello, welcome back everybody. It's just me all on my lonesome. Jerry, you know what? He couldn't handle the heat. It was a little bit too much for him. You know, he's very ancient, very old. He's got to watch his health, make sure that he's not around. He's in my ears. Anywho, he appreciated that, and he wanted to say that this is going to be a great second map, and I only have to agree with him. I mean, he's a pretty smart fellow in general, and we have a fantastic lineup here. So, Lionscreed, if you did miss it, which you really shouldn't have, it came out 7-3 winners on Consulate. They were completely on top. It was domination. A little bit of a spark, momentarily a flawless attacking route from Hmble, but it really wasn't that much. It was in a round where we saw Alders subbed in for ACS 12s, Boss G's brought in for K1As, the like. The sort of thing where over-aggression really not going to work out for you too much. Lionscreed kind of just given them that one, I would say, if I'm being a little bit harsh to their opposition in Hmble. But you know what? They probably need that at the moment. They need some harsh words. That's what they'll be hearing, I imagine, from their IGL behind the scenes, getting them revved up for the next map. And where is that? Well, let's have a quick gander. It is Clubhouse, for all those who aren't aware. Consulate first, then suddenly a lot more standard. We've got the Clubhouse. We know what to get. Hebby has just apologized to me for the miscapitalization of my name earlier on, so thank you, Hebby. Very appreciated. Anywho, second map, Clubhouse, we've got, which is Humble's. Good chance because they are very strong here. We've seen them throughout contenders be very successful on that map. And then the final decider, if we do get there, we will need a big turnaround, will be Oregon, and that's a very important one. But for now, we're just going to have to make sure it's all done. No, it's not ELAC. He spelled it doesn't matter. Anywho, Bomber, dearie me. He just wants to get involved because he has nothing to do until the semi-final for Cyberground. Anywho, these two, they're going to be fighting on Clubhouse here to try and get themselves a quarter-final position. We're already quite far through the playoffs. It's really quite exciting. It's gone very well so far. We've had some really fantastic games. I've really enjoyed watching and being involved in quite a few of them. I think Machine Soldiers games in particular have been an absolute romp. It's a real shame we didn't see their game against Proximity, as it was rescheduled at the same time as Hmble's first game against Unknown. Anyway, it looks like, are we pausing during? No, we're not pausing. We're just going straight on in with the bans. See if people will reconnect before then. Thatcher and Maverick, no surprise here on Clubhouse. I mean, if you're doing a defensive set with those two, you got to ban out the Kaid, and then it's a matter of, are we bringing Mira? We've seen a lot of Mira players of late in ECS. Lots of teams actually deciding not to ban. So that can mix things up often. Are we just rehosting? I assume that we are. Unless... Are we not rehosting Mr. Jerry Magic behind the scenes? Just for clarification, they're messing about. Oh, okay, fair enough. Lionscreed forgot to do the ban. Wow. Well, this is an interesting setup if ever I did see it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, this is happening. This is real. We've got no Kaid ban. We've got a Thatcher and a Maverick. So all the hard breaches, all the standard hard breaches available, but not the Maverick and Thatcher, which allow that to be so open. So I'm thinking we're going to see some Carly, we're going to see some Twitch here today if they want to get angles open. This might be tough for Lionscreed to start out on the attack. It's certainly a defensive favored Clubhouse already we can see coming out via the ban. So that Kaid is a must pick. He's going to be so easy to use in these positions. The main other thing is the fact that Maestro is gone. We know Lionscreed, they love playing the Maestro, and especially here on Clubhouse. I spoke earlier, I think it was during the Hmble last game from the desk about how good Lionscreed's Maestro can be. Just those Evil Eye placements sometimes winning out rounds. It definitely happened within the final last season against the Jaegers. So Lionscreed obviously coming out victors there. If they wish to replicate their success, though, they have to fight their way all the way back up the bracket. And this second map will be a necessity. Hmble, what have they brought in response? Well, here on CCTV, to start things off on their defense, they have brought along that Kaid. It's going to be so tough to get those angles open, especially in conjunction with the mute of Kygos and Simo with that little bit of intel as well. They have so much to exploit the plays from Lionscreed. Whatever they try and do should be relatively obvious. We should know what's coming. Hmble should definitely as well, given the right placements. Whether they're passive placements of those black eyes or not, or maybe they're slightly more out there trying to figure out exactly where the attack is coming from a bit earlier, potentially from Lionscreed. But a lot of them spawning over towards Kennels and looking to be pushing quite standard. The only thing that's going to mix things up to some degree will be Steno on that Amaru, who can really catch off a lot of players, maybe coming up through construction hatch. I'm trying to think of other hatches that could be impactful over here. Not too many directly. I think a lot of that play is going to be getting up to rooftops and dancing around. Maybe jumping up and down logistics hatch could be a part of that fight. The main thing is going to be this breach, because I remember when breaches used to be a real big part of this map in general, but nowadays it just seems it's a guarantee they're going to be open. And Steno, he's found himself a first kill onto the lounge player. Easy enough. Malusi down, ground taken, and a lot of control here already for Lionscreed. First minute gone, they're in good stead. But Alex equalizes things in terms of the man count. From Garage, taking down the diffuser holding player, alone out by East. Which means Lionscreed, they have to go get that. I mean, you imagine Steno would be the one to do that, as he's got the fastest maneuverability around to that area. to get back. But that could be an issue for Lionscreed. They're going to have to kill their way through if they don't take the time to go and get it. And also, Panda being down means there is that much tougher to get this breach going for Heavy, and he's going to be focusing towards... Yes, he actually has got the breach open on construction side. So, pretty even here for both teams. Steno gives a bit of an advantage here to his team. Hmble losing the one man inside of the site. So it's a west versus east side move here. 1 minute remaining. Lionscreed have a lot of options here in terms of intel as well. Still the 4 drones remaining for them. And Heavy, he's just blasting on in. Finds the first and the second. He's eyeing up the final man. He doesn't know quite where Alec is. He is inside of the garage. Top of rafters. Very, very close to, I believe, Robit here. No, it's Steno jumping in, who is taken down. 1 versus 3 now, as Robit is sticking the plant. Coverage all the way across the sites here. Noodle is going to be a big problem for Alec. He's going to have to pre-fire the Ash on top of the table here. But actually, it's the Zofia stepping close, crouching, finding the kill. Lionscreed continue their dominance. We saw from Consulate. There were things that stopped them that round. It was a bit more contested. It wasn't as much of a stomp, but attacking side. Think about the bans we've got right now. They are so disadvantaged, and they still found their way through on what is a pretty difficult site to win out. Hmble, they're not going to stick around. They're bringing us down to Church and Arsenal. They're not done. They have to put something in here. They really have to show up on this map. They have no chance. They can't go to anything else. They've been playing 1 maps all season. Throughout the league season, it's just play a map here, play a map there, win, lose, it doesn't matter. They have lost games this season. I believe they lost in overtime. I can't quite remember who that was against. It wasn't Super Open. They've not had a flawless record, that being said, but they do have to play 2 maps here and make sure that they can pull it all the way back. Are they quite cut out for that? Right now, the answer is no. There is no real other answer you can give. They've lost on their own map. Here on Clubhouse, an okay showing on the first round, but a lot of that was just Alec getting a pick or 2 from the garage. Not too much offered elsewhere, despite the inherent advantage. Hmble, what do? You need to delay. You need to slow down Lionscreed. It's a tough ask. They are a very, very quick team. I think quick is an understatement. They are a rapid team who will take any ground given to them. Their intel game is just... We don't talk about it too much as casters because it's already been said so many times. They are just incredibly efficient at moving in, and sometimes their intel play is just manual because they've got that gunfighting ability. They can just peek their head round, pre-fire the right spots without too much risk of being caught off a lot of the time, and then they use that as their intel to move in, often using that Iana as well to give themselves a bit of information. She's not opted for this time. They're going very soft breach-centric. Makes a lot of sense, but only the 1 hard breacher. No hard breach charge opted for by the Aruni, who I believe still has a hard breach charge. I don't know. I don't actually have her on PC yet, so I don't know if they changed that. But not opted for anyway. Heavy is the only one relied upon for this breach, with the Kaid as well as the C4s as well. No impacts brought to kind of back that up. It's a problem for them here, and further problems being produced from underneath. Andrea taking out Panda with a C4 from underneath, but plays overly aggressive towards Steno, and he takes that very nicely. Noodle's already moved really close through the tunnel in the meantime. So many angles here for the defensive side to worry about, and there we go. That's why they should be worrying. Here he comes. Noodle pushes in on through, but he's looking the wrong way. Taken out from blue. Alec is there again, the savior for Hmble, but he's got another player to deal with. That's 2 players taken down by Lionscreed. Make it 3. Steno finds his third for the round. Lionscreed second round in a row here. Absolutely unstoppable right now. This is the Lionscreed. Like, it's a slightly different lineup. It's a slightly different ethos to some degree, but this is the sort of Lionscreed we saw a lot last season. The Lionscreed who are reigning champions, and they look like it right now. They have not looked themselves this season. This roster, they seem to have found themselves to winning ways. I feel like the addition of Noodle is a very smart one. They seem to suffer when Robit and Verns both aren't around within the lineup. That being said, Heavy to a degree as well. Having at least the two of them in, and then Noodle on top of that is brilliant. And it's nice to see Panda also getting some kills on top of things, because he has had a rough season, let me tell you. I made jokes last season about how happy I was that Panda was doing poorly for Jaegers, because, you know, I don't like him. But, you know, and I usually had to praise him so much, and I was complaining. I was enjoying the fact that he was doing poorly, but, you know what, it takes a toll at some point, because Panda, he is a brilliant player. He was the top man in almost all the stats 3 seasons ago, I believe. Nowadays, he seems to be having somewhat of a resurgence after a bit of a poor performance. He's really stepped up today for Lionscreed in particular. Obviously, he's playing a bit more of a supporting role. They're kind of sharing around the team roles, and they're very flexible here, Lionscreed, which can work in their benefit, can work against them. Right now, certainly we're seeing the positive side of it. Hmble, what can they offer up? Well, they're returning to CCTV and Cash. And they're going for some aggression here. Alec trying to catch off the ace, and does. That is some breaching potential gone. Heavy still is standing, and he can get some stuff open with the X-Kairos, which he did manage to last time, but it's not what you want. The nice coming out from Panda. A nice bit of team respect there. You know, good sportsmanship there from the man. Noodle, he's not waiting around. He's not being nice. He's taking down Alec, who has been the gunner so far today. Is he the only player with a kill for his team? No, Andrea has managed to get one, which was a vertical C4. He's the only guy who's got kills with bullets so far for Hmble, and we're on the 3rd round. That is not great on a defender-sided map with defender-sided bans. This is not the start Hmble will want to be having. Thankfully, equal man count now for Lionscreed in terms of trying to push things on. Just going to take their time and drone things out. I'm going to have a nice sip of water because I'm boiling to death in here. That goes to you guys as well. Make sure you are nice and hydrated. A very warm day. And a very well-heated match. That if that starts emanating through the screen, you know, you better watch yourselves, because you're gonna get heat stroke. Anywho, Steno takes down one in response to the kill earlier onto Robitussin, which was another nice one from Andrea, starting things off for the rest of the Hmble roster bullet-wise, but that is not enough. Just getting the one kill, you need to absolutely be on your gunning game against Lionscreed to give yourself a chance, because even strategy-wise, if you have the edge above them, you need to be stepping up gun-wise. And there we go. Great team play to pinch on the player inside of Lounge, but they've lost the one in the sight. And Steno, he acts on the intel of Simo's position, tries to catch him off, but just about can't. Heavy could save his teammate here. He does down the Jaeger, but is not necessarily aware. Simo, wait, no, sorry. Simo, was he down? What happened there? Oh, he got the down, and sorry, the smoke. The replay confused me there. The smoke actually did get the kill onto Heavy. The round taken for Hmble. A much better put together defense on the second attempt. So that's one round back for them, but it feels like a similar vein to that. Even the flawless round they got on the attack of Consulate to make it 5-1. It doesn't fill me with too much hope. It still came pretty close. Well contested throughout. They never had a disadvantage. They were always ahead or even in terms of man count, but they didn't push the clock too close. They didn't push the players to the extremities that they could have. It still came within Steno and Heavy's purview, in which if you're giving them an ever so slight chance in a 2 versus 2, you're in trouble. You don't want to be dealing with that kind of Lionscreed. So they're returning to the basement. Now this went wrong for Hmble in the way that maybe they can really invest in keeping that hatch closed. They got the vertical kill, Andrea getting a C4 onto, I believe it was Panda playing the sledge that round. No sledge opted for this time around. I feel like this lineup might be for a gym attack. I feel like they were expecting that, Lionscreed. Hmble instead opting for the basement, and they're going to have a bit of roaming presence. Alec looking to find that early kill that helped his team out last time until Noodle barreled on in, and then Steno came along from main as well. Just a split presence, very, very quick pushing. Hmble don't seem to be ready for it. I think they're being caught off by the quick play of Lionscreed here. Whenever Lionscreed are moving, it is 2 players at once, numerous positions, and often without regard for safety. And a lot of teams in Contenders won't do that because it's risky, and maybe they don't have the gunplay to deal with it. Lionscreed certainly do, and they're vouching on that. They are really relying upon the fact that they are individually mechanically skilled players, and that's working out right now. Hmble, what can you do? Delay. Slow them down as much as possible. It will require the best of their ability. If Hmble players really want to try and win ECS here, which they are on the books to do, some people really do believe that, and it's warranted. You know, you've looked at their performances throughout the season. It would not surprise anyone if they go very, very far. Historically, very much the case that a Contenders team could take it there. But you got to start here. And they've started with a kill onto Panda. Again, the same trade out last time as we saw previously. In the same position, mind you, so a bit of a misplay from Panda there. But again, Andrea, he falls to Heavy peeking down. It was Steno last time in that position, but regardless, it's the same play coming out. And Hmble, it's not what you need. You want your kite alive later on. And Noodle gets a kill. Oh, is this a replay of round 2? It's just the same thing over and over again. Noodle shut down in the end, but a move from main takes the player. Thankfully, the refrag coming out onto Steno, and Robit is shut down. It's suddenly down to Heavy. The replay is stopped. Definitely Hmble. They've learned from that earlier round and definitely made the difference here. I don't know what Heavy's playing at there, but he definitely has time to go get the diffuser and put a push onto the 2 remaining players. It's the roamers you'd expect, the Jaeger and the Vigil, who've now returned to site and will be eyeing up exactly what they can do. Heavy very, very close here to being caught off by Simo if he's not careful. He's going to make himself known with that Vault, giving the sound away. 2 players very close, one close left, one close right. It's a walk in and die situation. Bar heroics from Heavy, but he's not quite a hero today on Clubhouse so far. Fantastic performance, consistently from him, but Hmble have pulled their way back in. They learned. I can imagine Jerry sighing right now in my ear, singing Tra-la-la, having a good old time for Hmble as the underdog team. There's no real denying it at this point. Yes, there we go. That's Jerry is observing, by the way. I've not completely kicked him off ECS duty today. But it's all good. And don't forget Shiro as well. If you've got a thing for your name, put it up on the screen. Shiro, don't forget doing all the hard work for ECS playoffs production-wise, or the vast majority of it. He's doing quite a lot. We do love Shiro here, so good job, crew behind the scenes. You're fab. Anywho, 2-all. Hmble got a good chance here. They've really pulled their way back in. Actually, I'm going to get the chat up. I know you're all like 3 minutes behind. But I'd be interested to see what you guys have to say. Put your comments in whilst I hydrate, and you hydrate as well. How's it going? What can Hmble do from this position, or have Lionscreed got it completely within their grip? Best answer, I'll give you a pair of eBack themed socks.
5 seconds to insertion. Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse.
I'll give you them at the next like live event or whatever. Like whenever Jerry's doing like whatever fancy LAN event thing, like, I'll come along and bring some socks and I'll give them to you guys. Anywho, round has begun. Gym and bedroom for the first time. This quite a debatable site because a lot of teams have actually favored this over CCTV as of late. This season we've seen a real real resurgence. People seem to be enjoying themselves on this site a bit more than usual, so that's nice to see, but it does rely a lot of the time on the individual player trapped inside of Cash. Simo absolutely rocked the last round. He had a brilliant time. He's found himself to a 4-2 advantage, despite really struggling for kills earlier on, and the kills really weren't flowing for Hmble at all on Consulate either. So this is a tough position for him, but a great time for him to give it the best go possible. He's being flashed, and he's being pushed from 2 different positions. It's going to be a split push across, but no, it's taken down. Lovely support from Kygos with the SMG-11 to shut down the Zofia, giving a bit more problems for Panda. He needs a bit more direct support. He's brought in Noodle to do this same put, but now his attention is split on Red Stairs. It's a really tough move here, and Panda's been taken down by Simo. The split move, the distraction from Alec, the teamwork there from the Jaeger and the Vigil, the two who brought out that victory against Heavy in the 2 versus 1 last round, really, really holding that strong, and that's how you support that position. Simo, he got one himself, but the supporting player of Kygos was there across, preventing the push from one area, and then the split from Red. Brilliant. But Kygos is down. The 2 versus 5 now reduced to 2 versus 4. And if if anyone's going to do it, it's Heavy and Steno, the 2 Lionscreed OG players. I don't know too much about their extended history, but they're both reliable players who've been there for quite a while. We've seen them do it in ECS, certainly, and that kill will help them on their way. Heavy low health will be an issue, but the breach is open across, and they do have a decent amount of intel. If they don't get mute jammed here, they can quickly figure out where the players are if they move, but there's 3 angles being held. They got the Showers player, they've got way too much to deal with, but 20 seconds to push in. 2 versus 3, it's just a matter of finding that first frag and then having the support, and it's going to be a split drop. He goes for the logistics move, Heavy, and the split is Steno moving across from Jacuzzi, but it can't work. It can't work. There's just too many angles being held by the defenders, who seem to have really found a new lease on life here on Clubhouse. Hmble, for the first time today, first time at all, they move ahead against Lionscreed. Now, I'm not sure if that's due to all your comments in the previous round, but good job. I haven't seen any come through yet, so I have to wait and see. But Lionscreed, they're finally being punished by the smart play of Hmble. They've slowed them down accordingly, and they're starting to win fights. They are playing Clubhouse the way you should play Clubhouse. It's a very, very good effort here. Jerry, can you move your mouse off the screen? I don't know if that's you. Or if the people can see that. It's just really irritating for me. Thank you. No! Stop it! It's a very hot day. It's very, very tough. Good games is the one thing we've had from deep to deep. Some very good games so far. You are correct. This is really proving to be an interesting Clubhouse, because Jerry was expecting that romp in favor of Lionscreed. It started off that way with the first 2 rounds, but then 3 in a row in response from Hmble. 3 was all they could muster on Consulate, but here, if they can take it to the 4-2 with the defensive advantage, they're in decent stead. This is a very, very defender-sided Clubhouse, more so than we've seen prior, just because of that no ban. In terms of Lionscreed's, Lionscreed didn't ban a defender, and they've started on the attack. It gives a huge advantage to Hmble. There's a lot they can offer here, and they certainly have stepped into that. It's just a matter of time as to see really whether they can try and take that advantage, because a 3-3 split, it seems okay given what we saw on Consulate. It's not really enough. It really isn't against Lionscreed. Remember, Lionscreed, if they're on the defensive half with these bans, there is very little hope. They're a strong attacking team, but defensively outstanding. There's a lot. I mean, they took 5 rounds on Consulate. There's not really much you can contest, especially in terms of today. And Robinson has started things off brilliantly taking down Kygos. That is the smoke gone as well. A lot of pressure, especially from me. I've been telling Hmble to try and delay their opposition as much as possible today. Half of the round gone, they've lost their smoke. That is not great, and this breach has managed to take place. Somehow Lionscreed overcoming that. I think that had something to do with Noodle, if I'm not mistaken, because there's no mute here, no Mozzie, and those Twitch drones are able to just weasel their way on in and get this angle open, and making things happen as well. Not just with the shock drone, but taking down Simo with the F2. 5 versus 3 advantage here for Lionscreed. All in their hands. 2 C4s, though, in the defender's hands could be tossed to their advantage and help them out. Maybe a player rotating downstairs, trying to deny a plant if they're going for that garage across move. But Lionscreed, there's no need to rush. They have all the intel they need manually. Not too many drones remaining, that being said. They've just got the 2. But they'll know what to expect here. 3 players, they can only be in so many spots. I think Alec might be that one surprise player. But how impactful can he be? That's the question. Takes down Steno, moving into garage. You imagine that move would be coming up red, but he's still staying down there. Sam's actually rotating down underneath and denying the plant from underneath. He does. Shuts down Panda, but Andrea is down. There's no C4 now, and no Melusi either. The Kai dealt with, and Lionscreed take another round here, bringing it to 3-all. That advantage that Hmble really, really need on the defensive side. They haven't got it. They've got an even split here. Yeah, Jerry, move your freaking mouse. Yeah. Chat hate you, Jerry. You can't stand it. They're all against you. Anywho, 3-all split. Team E back over Team Jerry. Anywho, oh dear me. I'm gonna take another brief hydration break whilst I'll give it all to you guys to consider. What are we going to see on this attacking split now? Lionscreed defensive side, Hmble on the attack. Surely in Lionscreed's favour technically. That is what's on the paper. But what will we actually see? Put your predictions down now and I'll grade them all. Yeah, halftime oranges. Yeah, definitely. Oh, England was so good earlier. It was brilliant. I know you're not all English necessarily. I mean, this is an English cast, but like this is ECS, so it's Europe, so you know. I believe Hmble are Italian. Is that right? They'll be quite happy. They won against Turkey. Anywho. Speaking of good performances, Lionscreed, can they keep it up on the defensive side? Well, that would suggest no. Alec takes down Noodle. Great start. He has had a very, very big impact on Hmble's game so far. He's given them really the big chances. He's been rocking that vigil so far this game. Him and Simo, with some very impactful duo plays, have really helped out their team. And they've traversed, they brought that onto the attack somewhat. At least Noodle is down. It's a good way to start things. And the Kali is going to be eyeing up that breach, making sure she can deal with it nice and easily. As the Kaid is in play, he doesn't have an Electric Claw in hand, so he's actually used that elsewhere, which means he won't be able to deny it. And nobody is able to answer Alec right now. He's going 9-4. He really is the bastion of hope for Hmble right here. We focused on him and I believe Sam was the player noted by Jerry at the beginning of the game. Players to keep an eye on. They've both given decent performances, but Alec in particular has been really just a staunch competitor here. Andrea falls, giving a good chance to Lionscreed. Just a little bit of a way back in, but Alec is making his ingress up red. Oh, just a tiny bit too slow, unfortunately, firing towards Steno. Both players of the defense inside of the garage. He has to go aggressive here. Steno knows he has to find this first kill if the revive does take place onto Alec, because he's still alive over on red. Oh, no, I was mistaken. He's actually jumping down, not just to get the aggressive run out, but to try and get that eventual finisher onto Alec. He definitely did know. Very smart from Steno. I assumed he wouldn't, but you know, he's just brilliant. He knows his stuff, and up red he comes. So now this split hold is a stronger position definitely for Lionscreed, but 3 players remaining. Frag grenades. Breach is now onto construction. There's no way that they can deny this comfortably, especially when Steno's down. It's all for Panda. He's got a C4, which will take down the defusing player. Thankfully, still here for Lionscreed. They have a decent chance now. Much tougher without Steno, and Panda just about can't do it himself, unfortunately. Dear me. You guys all having fun in the chat today. Thanks Sparta, supporting me. Anywho, 4-3. Advantage for Hmble. This is the turnaround they need. They got those 3 rounds in a row earlier on the defense. They brought it even, which is not ideal, but they're starting to win attacks. How? We're seeing such bizarre lineups. We're seeing Twitches and Carlys brought out to try and get these breaches open, but a lot of the play is happening away from the breach at the moment. The breaches really aren't the main element that is separating a lot of these teams. The holds from Lionscreed, at least the hold that they did that last round, was very garage-centric. They didn't have too much pressure within CCTV itself, even when it was closed. So it's really kind of playing against them right now. And we are taking a brief pause at the moment, as somebody's gone for a bit of a wander. That's all right. Hmble with the advantage here. Now this is definitely not what any of us expected. Especially given the first 2 rounds. I feel like that might have thrown some of us off. We all expected Lionscreed to do so pretty well here at the very least, and Hmble, they could fight their way back in, but losing the first 2 rounds convincingly, not really the way you expect a team to come back from. But there we go, 4-3. CCTV and CCTV. Oh, we're going back to me, aren't we? Hello. I'm here. I'm sweating. It's boiling hot in here. It's just a brief pause whilst we wait, and a great position for it because we're 4-3 up to Hmble. What can they do from this position? Well, they've listened in the way that their defensive side, they adjusted definitely, and they slowed down Lionscreed, which is a really tough ask, and a lot of it has come down to Alec. Simo with some fantastic plays as well, the teamwork within there, and that Kygos as well. I think that one particular round, that gym defense, really spoke a lot about how strong Hmble can be in terms of their team play. Just supporting Simo, he was the bait really inside of Cash as the Jaeger on that round, and then allowed his teammates to come round and support at the right times, but he was strong enough to deter the opposition, slow them down so that those pinches could come across from the teammates. And he found one himself within that, so very, very good. Hmble having a really good time here, and they're looking to continue that now that they move on. They're on the attack. They transitioned that pretty well there. I mean, and Alex was just unstoppable. He got that triple moving in downstairs by himself, that being said, as the Ash. Just, it takes a special kind of player to gun down Lionscreed solo, and it really does. There aren't many teams who can do it. We've seen Arctic managed it in the final playday of Majors. Jaeger's definitely managed it in playday 2. Pause going on an absolute stomp. But actually, no, Toombs had quite a showing as well, if I'm not mistaken, in that particular game. But it's tough. We don't see it happen too often from Lionscreed. But they've got to fight their way up, because Hmble Academy, they are 2 rounds away. Obviously, Lionscreed are only 3, but they are closer to the match point. They've got a way in. Not miles away here from trying to take this map. And then it's all down to Oregon, which is the final map, in case you've not been here from the beginning. Panda, though, he's been taken down by Kygos. Where was that? Was that the drone hot? There was a run out, unfortunately. And Alec with a run in to stock, taking down Rabitison. Nice early start for Hmble Academy. And are we seeing an attacker-sided clubhouse come out? Maybe slightly. It definitely seems that way. Obviously, CCTV not in favor at the moment. And Alec, again, finds a second on the first floor. And if he moves up red and finds another like he did in the last round, that would be absolutely crazy. No way. He's walked inside of Garage and found Noodle, all down to Steno. I said in the last game in a 1 versus 3, he lives for these moments. He comes and wins it out on Clubhouse final round. Now he's got a 1v3 to deal with. He's dealt with the 4th player. Position called on red, definitely. And he's going aggressive to try and find at least one to make it a bit easier. But he can't. Taken down by Kygos. Here we are. Where's Jerry gone? I'm sorry, Avarice. He's just observing right now. Real shame. It's just me. It's a bit too much fuss for him to do all the stuff at once, unfortunately. And there's nobody who wants to cast with me, because why would you? To be fair, if there's anyone to solo cast, it's eBag. Thanks, Avarice. I always liked you, Avarice. If I can get my laptop from over there, I can find your stats, but I've not got anyone to cast whilst this is going on, so there we go. Are they both vertical? I thought I saw a corpse in there, Jerry. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Alec got at least the one, if not two. Jerry says 2 of those kills were vertical kills up onto Cash that last round. So brilliant work from him. I definitely saw, I'm sure I saw a body down there, at least for one of them. But again, Alec, absolutely lethal, just charging in as the Ash, doing a fantastic job. That's what you can afford to do somewhat on that particular site. This time around, it's going to be very different. You're on the basement site. If you're getting a rush in, it'll be, you see some teams maybe kind of go for a quick blue move, something like that, or you rush in through the tunnel, which is where we saw Lionscreed have a good amount of success. It was relatively mixed, but often we saw players, especially Noodle, blasting in from there and getting at least 1, if not 2 kills across their basement attacks. It's certainly possible. Hmble will have that in their mind. They've had it done to them already this map. They will know that that is something that they can offer themselves, but it's going to be a bit slower, the action this time around. Ooh, but not from Panda. He's getting things started straight away. Takes down one of the most impactful men of this map so far. Probably the most, you would say. Steno has been killing it as well. Should not be understated. He's already found 12 himself within the first 8 rounds. And now in the 9th, he's looking to extend it and potentially extend the man advantage of Lionscreed. I believe he's backed off to the site now. He's definitely a lot tighter as Hmble. They are focused very much on this northern side. Yes, Steno has gone all the way back. 5 players of the defense sitting tight. And it's smart. I know you've not wasted too much time. If you're, a lot of teams, they will stay extended for 1 minute 30 just because they need to waste time because they're on defense. But you got the man advantage. You've got a lot of utility within the site as well. You can afford to back off somewhat, and you can still get kills from down below. Where did Rabitison get that from? I imagine that was a vertical angle. It was. He peeked up all the way from the gym door through the open rotate up the hatch, I believe, or through some vertical angles. Takes down one, and the Heavy is there close inside of the tunnel to shut down any split move. Hmble getting taken apart piece by piece. I can feel, I can't hear Jerry right now, but I know he wants me to make a humble pie joke in my ear right now. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to stoop that low. I've grown as a caster. I've changed over this last 3 seasons. And Rabitison has found himself to another kill for Lionscreed. Heading towards that flawless. It's only Sam standing between Hmble and that very... trying not to say very humbling fact, but there we go. It's happened. Flawless round here. McCready did it first. Yeah, and I know it's a very obvious joke. I mean, like, it's very low hanging fruit. I'd go for something that's a bit more, like, I don't know, humorous. Right, I'm going to take another brief hydration break. Hmble, though, they still have the advantage. 5-4. It's very tough to call Lionscreed. Obviously, they did a very good job on that particular site, but as they're returning to CCTV, do we think they can change it, guys? Avarice, Boop, whoever's in the chat, let us know. Can you do it? We've got a lot of PG Tips gang in here. What do you think? You know these guys well. Can they pull it out?
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Don't forget you can get those eBack themed socks if you get the best answer. I figured there'd be a bit more contention for it. Got to get that eBack merch.
10 seconds left before insertion. 5 seconds remaining. Attackers must locate and defuse.
As we enter the action phase, I return. Lionscreed, can they do it on their return to their one of their weaker sites in general? It's been rather up and down across attack and defense, but a lot of it has been down, especially defensive-wise. They haven't managed to get a win so far on this particular site. Hmble really enjoying themselves here. In particular, this man. There's no wonder Jerry's keeping his eye on him on this particular move, because Alec has blasted in and found 3 both times from this first floor position. He's eyeing up the verticals again to try and correct. What was I thinking of? What was the word? Contest. That's it. Sorry. Contest the angles that Steno's opened up, but he's not going to get anything for it. Breach is going to be the main issue here for Hmble Academy. They managed it last time, and it's good that we've seen these teams have the flexibility, because the standard bans here are so standard that you don't often practice too much with the Kali. You don't really see her brought out. We've seen very limited Kali play, especially in ECS this season in particular. Now, it's nice to see that Andrea is really managing that very consistently within this role. He has had quite a comfortable clubhouse so far. Halfway through the round, though, and no early picks for Alec, as we've seen in previous rounds. And actually, he's being eyed up by Heavy, who has a C4. And as soon as he hears that pre-fire or that attempt of a play from Alec, he can definitely toss that up towards his position. Oh no, but he catches off Steno. He comes back across from his red antics, runs across the site, isn't expecting Alec to still be there, but he's patient. He's just sitting there time after time, picking off players as the pot is stirred underneath. Alec gets another onto Panda. There's thankfully 4 Lionscreed a refrag. Make that 2 thanks to Robit onto Andrea. But the breach is wide open. The Kali's job is pretty much done. 3 versus 3. 45 seconds, though, is that advantage for the defenders. They have the C4s remaining, but it's only the 2 now, as is a 2 versus 2. Robitison shuts down Sam all the way across from the site, holding the island position, but his attention is split. Heavy's got to hold that for him. Now he's there to try and take the red position against Alec, as they know, I think they're aware both players may be inside of the garage. It's going to come close, and the 20 seconds is a real problem with those 2 C4s that they have not managed to relinquish from those defenders' hands. They're still holding on tight. Heavy's pre-placed one, so a plant is going to go completely wrong for Kygos, but he goes for an unexpected spot. Alex swings around and gets another. He finds his 4th for the round, and it's a win for Hmble Academy. Such smart play from these 2. I wouldn't be surprised if you were cheating, Alex. He absolutely finds it. He is absolutely rocking the boat, especially on those CCTV sites. A triple, a quad for the attacks on that site. And most importantly, Hmble find themselves on match point. So close here to taking the second map. And so close to proving Jerry wrong with his take the first map, you take the second map. Rubbish. Oh, man. Mean back has resurfaced. I don't know what it is about Lionscreed that maybe it's all their terrible personalities kind of like seeping out onto me. I was very mean to Revenge in the last game, and now I'm just being mean here to Jerry for some reason.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I don't know. I'm very upset today because there are two reasons I'm upset. One is that I was due to cast with Elder Brain and I didn't get that because I don't know what he's doing. He's not around, which is a shame because I was looking forward to that all day. And the other one is that I just got Animal Crossing on the Switch yesterday, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it already. I was up till like 4 in the morning playing it. It's very good, and I want to get back to playing that as soon as possible. But anywho, the Animal Crossing Pro scene is pretty good. Reason 3, you're not casting with me. That too, yeah, that's been added to the list. It's very sad. But you know what? We've penned in, we've penciled in a semi-final together at this point, so we'll have to wait and see. But you imagine it might be one of these two teams if they do get in there. They've only got the one game afterwards against Arctic, but who's it gonna be contesting against them? Right now, it's tough to call. Lionscreed have map 1. Hmble, they are very much eyeing up map 2. And they're being taken to a site that they have not attacked yet. Gym and bedroom. The issue here is Robit. He has so much support. The Surya gates, the castles, everything in that position. The mute jammers as well, denying any hard breach. It's so hard to get in there and put pressure onto him, and we saw him against Revenge hold this position so well. There are so many different Melusis who can rock that particular hold, but Robit is one of them who is probably the scariest in ECS, I might add, and that is exactly why. He takes down the Kali. That breach onto the wall is going to be a bit tougher, but actually, no, sorry, it's already done, and it's open. And Robitson's down, so I'm very much mistaken. He is very good at that position, it's not wrong, but he has been foiled on this particular attempt because Hmble are just maniacs. They're going nuts, and Alec is the man, just spearheading absolutely everything. It's nice to see Seno getting really amongst the kills. He's not been having the craziest kill season so far, in ECS, but this is more like it from him, but he's actually being shown up right now by Alec. Going 11. I wish it was 11. Lionscreed wish it were 11. It's 18. 18-7 for the man. I don't think he's stopping. Sam's getting another. 2 versus 4, all down to Hebi and Steno. I'm talking about stats, but there's a minute left, and Hmble, they're on match point. They could take the second map here. Are we going all the way to Oregon? Steno says no, he doesn't want to go there. He wants to take the second map right now. Shuts down Kygos. Hebi, close angle. He has the diffuser as well, but it's taken down from behind. Alec running into the site. Steno all down to him for a 1 versus 3. He can't do it again. Too much pressure on his shoulders. Simo laps it up. He had a fantastic map in particular as well. Hmble really stepping up after those first 2 rounds. They win Clubhouse 7-4. All the way we go to Oregon for map 3, the decider. Alec, dear oh dear, 19 kills. Lionscreed, not quite the performance we expected from them on Clubhouse, and I think we're seeing a pattern here for Lionscreed. If they do manage to get through, if they do manage to win Oregon next up, they've got to ban out Clubhouse. I actually think it might be one of their weaker maps at the moment. They've lost it quite a few times recently. They were shaky on it against Revenge. Not great if you're a Lionscreed fan. Probably not up to scratch on it in the way that they were in the past. They'll have to wait and see. But Oregon, that's more of a strong point from them. Lionscreed, well, actually, I say that's a strong point for them. They are very historically strong there. They obviously won out that map in the final against Jaegers. They managed to win that out, which is a very tough one because Jaegers are very good on Oregon. However, during the league season, they played Oregon once. It was against Playing Ducks, and they lost it. It was 7-5, so pretty close. That being said, Playing Ducks were the team who left the division, so they were gifted that win, but they still lost it in regulation. So that's a bit of a hope if you are Hmble right now, because they have a bit more of a successful record on Oregon this season. So Debatable. I'm going to throw to a quick break to give myself a little bit of rest, hydration. Going to go cool down a bit, as the teams will be doing in preparation for Map 3 Oregon. We will see you in just a few minutes. You are a strong, independent man. You can do this, Ebac. You can solo cast this game. Okay, Shiro, when are we going live? Oh, hello everybody. I'm Ebac. Doesn't matter. It's just a joke. I knew that was happening. Anywho, how are you? I hope you're all having a wonderful day. We're having a great match here in ECS, trying to get to that quarterfinal spot, but neither team quite sealing the deal. A 7-3 victory on Consulate for Lionscreed only saw them as far as Clubhouse, but they couldn't really get past the opposition of Hmble today on that particular map. Really, really tough for them. A star performance from Alec. I'm getting choked up about it. It was very good. It was moving, it was emotional, it was very dramatic indeed. And that takes us all the way to map 3, the decider. It's Oregon, and that's going to be a great one because, you know, I actually haven't casted much Oregon really in a while. We've been having crazy maps all over the place, so I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing what we can have offered by a team like Lionscreed. Here with their kind of mixed around roster, how similar they will be to their usual style there. It certainly favors them in one degree of kind of the historical, but at the same time, Hmble, they have the better record. They've won it out this season. Lionscreed, they've lost any game that they've played on it. So not great for them. They've had some issues, but that was the past. That was all the past. Now it is the present. We are very much focused on what's going to be happening today. We need a bit of a step up from some of those Lionscreed players. They really, I think they maybe got a bit too ahead of themselves, given that Consulate game was aggressive. It was, it was exciting. It was a really good, dramatic and exciting bit of play. They're attacking and defending. That being said, they peaked everything. They won all those early fights. They got themselves in great positions. Once that stopped happening, towards the end of Clubhouse in particular, it really wasn't working out for them. Once they sat back a bit and tried to play the game in a bit more of a quote-unquote serious manner, they really did seem to struggle. Alec picking players apart one by one, and remarkable team play from everybody else behind the scenes, and the likes of Kygos and Sam as well. Despite the fact they're not fragging it up there, the kills were at least spread across the team in a way that allowed them to win, even if it was somewhat Alec focused. Here we are on Oregon at long last. Who thought it might go this far? I mean, I guessed it might. If Hmble do have a chance of winning it, I said they'd probably win it out within the first 2 maps. That would be their best bet, because you don't want to bring Lionscreed to Oregon. Lionscreed have surprised us today. They've lost out that Clubhouse. They've won out the Consulate, both winning on opposition's picked maps, and not necessarily maps where either team who won had the favor. So there's not really much you can call at this point. It's all up in the air. Lionscreed, they're going for that Maverick. They've got one defensive band to go. And with the Thatcher and Maverick, are we going to see them make the same mistake as last time? I was saying you have to go for the Kaid at this point. So many teams often do. They went for a no ban on Clubhouse. Obviously, it was an accident. And they lost the game, not necessarily for it. This time, doing what they should do, banning out that Kaid. But it does give the freedom to Hmble to do whatever they want on the defensive side. What are they going to go? They're going to maybe in an Echo or something, bring out something a bit bizarre that might not happen. Maybe banning out a Smoke, trying to stifle some of Steno or Heby's plays, as they do rock a Smoke here sometimes. But nah, they're going to go for the Wamai. It makes a lot of sense. It denies quite a lot of different things at the same time. Obviously, with a Rooney in, it changes the way that you might use some of that utility that's still remaining, the ADSs and the like, but it makes that bunker hold a little bit tougher, and you see a lot of teams not really going for it as actively as they used to, but it is on Hmble to do that. And one of the main things, as Alec just flashed momentarily, is that clash, because the clash, most importantly, quite impacted by that Wamai ban. It's that little bit tougher to play her in some of these positions, and she's an operator which both of these teams have played in the past, and already this game we've seen Heavy Rocket on map 1, which was Consulate. Yeah, doing some very good plays, getting a kill with the P10C, which apparently was stolen, but you know, when you're a Clash main, you'll understand. You need every little bit you can get. Anywho, we're starting on the top floor. Hmble Academy bringing out standard lineup. They're not opting for the Valkyrie, which is in play. There's no Nomad ban either, like Hmble banned out both of those, but they're not using either of them now that they have them for use. Seen very little of both of them this game generally, actually. It's quite surprising. Two very impactful operators, and impactful operators given the style of play that both of these teams have shown so far. So they obviously have their own strategies and setups that obviously doesn't accommodate it too much, but there you go. There's my 2 cents. Hydration break. Don't mind me, I'm still here. Don't forget, you guys, keep hydrating. If you've just joined us, we are on map 3, the decider of this best of 3 game. Lionscreed and Hmble. Lionscreed qualified in the better position. They qualified from majors. Hmble, they've had to fight up through from the top of contenders, but not too far away in terms of ability, and that's proven itself to be very true today, as they are equal on the 3rd map. We've gone all the way here, and I imagine this map will be rather close as well. And this very tight one here. Simo holding an angle towards Noodle, trying to deny the Ashe on the entry. We've seen Alex so effectively play that Ashe, and actually, to be fair, Noodle, he was doing some very good Ashe play as well, especially on basement attacks of Clubhouse, so it wouldn't be a surprise to see that here. But actually, Simo's going weirdly aggressive. It was Andrea and Alec, both of the A boys, in support, getting some kills there. One of them is shut down by Panda in response, and Sam is down, but on the site, breach is open. Diffuser's sitting outside, nabbable for Panda, but not anymore. He's actually nabbed himself. Kygor sees the end of him. Rabitison and Noodle stuck as the final men. 2 final men remaining for Lionscreed, but they managed to snap up that downed Jaeger. No revive for you. Oh, there's another one by Rabitison, but Simo is there to shut down his teammate. Which means there's a 1 versus 2 here comeback for Rabitison. It's definitely possible. He's got a good amount of time, but he doesn't quite know where these players are. The Banshee will give away his. 2 players on white. You don't usually see this. I'm not sure he'll be expecting it. If he kills Simo, even in this position, I'm not sure he'd expect Alex, but he is actually going to flank around. Somewhat more predictably, it might have somewhat worked. I'm sure they have some sort of intel on that position. The Vigil is using the ECR 7? I can't remember what it's something like that, to deny his... I need to look that up. Robinson actually snuck on by, and he's going for the plant inside of Kids. The C4 won't deny him, but the MP5 will. Thankfully, Simo is there for Hmble Academy to take the first round of the defense for Hmble Academy. It's a good Oregon start for them. Obviously, they want to take as many defensive rounds as possible. The bans are pretty much as you expect. It is standard, which means you expect the standard defensive outcome here. You want to at least take it even, if not have that slight positive advantage. I think Hmble, given their current form, given that first round as well, looking quite convincing, they will want to take that 4-2 split to try and move it further. Otherwise, they'll probably be looking at an overtime. But that being said, Lionscreed, they've got to step up here. They've got to get some attacking wins going, because for all their bravado, all their confidence as players, individually and as a team, they're losing here on the final map. It is just a round, and they've got their defensive side to go, but they have to make sure they win this out. It's one map between them and stumbling out before the quarterfinals. When was the last time we saw that from Lionscreed? I haven't seen it since I've been casting, so it's been at least a good 7 months or so. quite some time. I'm not sure they've done it in ECS. Jerry, let me know. You're the stat man on that sort of thing historically behind the scenes. But it's certainly been a while. I mean, Lionscreed, they've won out. They've won what is essentially ECS 3 times at the very least. I've seen 2 of them. This would be quite an upset, to say the least. Obviously, in terms of the tables, and as we pointed out earlier, the fact that Hmble, top of contenders, Lionscreed, one of the lower placed majors teams who've had to come all the way up through, it actually isn't too much of a skill split. But historically, it would be very much an upset for Lionscreed to go out today. And the impetus is on them as the attackers of Oregon to make something happen. And Sam, not quite fragging out today the way that he has in the past, but we know he's capable here on this Jaeger. He's going to give it a good go with a peek, but he doesn't get anything for it right now. It's actually his team who've been disadvantaged, losing a man over by Boiler. North Stairs presence taken by Robertson. He's playing it quite aggressively as Kygos comes and takes that position. Andrea inside of the smoke, but Panda's actually pushed on past the mirror position, and now that's a problem for Sam, who has backed all the way off to the site. Hmble players now very tight in, but they've got lots of angles to watch for, and here comes the Steno split. You imagine Noodle's positioned round as well. Steno now the only player on the north side, and actually, no, losing that man, Lionscreed, it seems that they've actually decided to bunch up together. Alex here, though, in a surprise position. Is Noodle ready? He's looking, and he does get the kill. They've seen that. Thankfully, that rotate. I think they might have heard an impact or something from him, but his position known. Same with the Jaegers. Lionscreed absolutely on top of that round. A few little fights back here and there from Hmble, but not really the sort of defense you want to do of this site. You want to slow them down as much as possible. Play it like you played Clubhouse, Hmble Academy. That was not that. Losing men a bit too early. Very good aggression from Lionscreed. They moved in, they took the ground, even when they didn't necessarily take the kill. Blasting past mirrors with smoke canisters, that sort of thing. It's very incisive, and it definitely worked out for Lionscreed that time around. They were not caught out for it like they were in the previous round. Laundry and Supply attempted again, and the mirror picked onto, won't be a huge surprise, but it's at least teasing out that echo. Panda will be keeping his eyes out for that later on, to try and zap it away with the Twitch. Another hydration break from me, so just don't mind me a moment. I'm going quiet. I'm saying it like Robertson because I've been saying it like that for months, and I prefer it like that. And because it upsets Hebby. So there you go, just so you know. Hebby doesn't like it, so I'm doing it.
10 seconds remaining.
And yeah.
5 seconds remaining. Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it. Swapping mags. Bomb located by attackers.
Alrighty, Roo. Here we are. Lionscreed trying to mount a very similar attack by the looks of things. Not too much split. A lot of presence over on the north to begin with. Clear out any of the roamers potentially on the top floor. There's a lot of presence from the defenders over by Small Tower, actually, to try and get some peeks across, but they've not eyed anyone up. I don't believe anyone was made aware of Andrea's positioning there with those shots. Maybe they are. Maybe they're looking for that refrag attempt. A lot of players, not refrag attempt, sorry, to find that first pick. Steno, he's eyeing up Alec here. Now, it's a risky move pushing him alone, so he does have support across from Noodle. But Noodle's down. Will the sledge meet the same fate? No. Just about sealed by Steno, but very, very close. You did miss Alec. It was very, very close there. But Panda, he survives on a fraction of health whilst taking down Andrea. So all the roaming presence dealt with for Lionscreed. Very, very good position for them. Man advantage, time in their hands. But there's still a lot of utility waiting downstairs once they do push on in. And their slightly lowered health could be an issue to potentially... I'm thinking Kygos with those smoke canisters, or also Simo with that C4. Don't have to take the engagements. You can just play your position and deny remotely. Something that's a very effective way of playing against a gunning team like Lionscreed, especially when the likes of Alec are down. Sam, though, he finds his first kill of the game, and very importantly, on to Steno. No throwables for him, no sledge impact at all. Now a 3 versus 3. Hmble starting to find their way towards an advantage. Still pretty even. Lionscreed have time to do what they want, and they are using that intel they have. The 5 drones remaining, watching flanks potentially, and also they're sending them on in to find out exactly what they are dealing with. They will know soon, and Panda is using that information to swing around. Split pressure from Lionscreed. It's a classic Steno move, but they're falling. It's 3 players now for the defense. Make that 2 as Robitussin swings on in. Very close. Jaeger, he's not aware. How patient from a Jaeger. You don't often say that, Jaeger main. Exercising his patience, hiding there behind the dehydrated boxes, and takes the round. Yeah, dehydrated. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Jerry. Make sure you're not dehydrated, guys. Have a nice sip of water. It's a very hot day, depending where you're watching this game from. Where is everybody watching this from? Let us know. Who you're supporting in the Euros, that sort of thing. Who you're supporting in this game. You're going to miss out on your chance for your e-back socks. Anyway. Kid Storm's main hall will be the next attempted site for Hmble. As they... Steno, shush. Steno, shush. I'm just gonna leave it. Yeah. It's gonna be a real test for Alec, because not only is he playing against Lionscreed and giving it a good job, he's playing against Lionscreed in the way that Lionscreed will take everything you can. I'm watching this from Jerry's basement. Please help me. Shiro, no. Dear me. Oh. We have fun here at ECS. I like this. Good stuff, Shiro. Anyway, shove your name on screen if you do have it, Shiro, as well as Jerry. Doing a splendid job behind the scenes. Dear me. So, top floor defense. We saw Hmble do this first time around. Pretty solid effort. It was rather convincing most of the way through. It did come relatively tight in the end, that 2 versus 1, but the split presence was a bit too much for, I believe, Heavy to deal with. Maybe it was Robit, actually, at the end to deal with. We need a change from Lionscreed this time around. They got to deal with some of these roaming players early. Alec stayed alive nice and long, so that he could provide that split presence at the very end of the round to give them the win. Hmble taking a 3-1 would be a very, very big statement and a very, very good thing for them. Will they have such luck? Well, we've got 2 minutes to wait and see. Oh, unfortunate for Sam. He's playing inside a master bedroom, but has not noticed the fact that there's someone right in the corridor, despite the fact that Andrea knew that because he was fighting the Ash just a moment ago. Perhaps a lapse in communication or a bit of over-aggression from the Jaeger, but he's been punished alongside not just the Mute, but the Vigil as well. Alec is down. 5 versus 2. Hmble suddenly completely under the cosh. Lots of players to deal with and lots of directions they could come from. It's these smoke canisters that's going to buy them a lot of time here if Kygos deploys them effectively. But is shut down. His knee sticks out. Shut down by Robitussin from the stairs, and Panda tosses a very, very successful frag grenade all the way across. Very well timed to detonate upon impact. Fantastic play from Lionscreed. Speaking about the fact that they needed to adjust, and they did a very similar plan. I mean, not not 100% similar. They didn't have as much split presence from the first floor like they did last time. They focused a few more men across on Master side instead, and they really did a good job. It was very successful. Completely demolished their opposition. A flawless round. Where are we going next? A reattempt from Hmble? You could imagine they would, but this time they are switching things up. They're going for kitchen and dining instead. Watching while laying on the rooftop of my house. Ooh, that's cool, Sparta. Nice to hear. I like that. Currently, Shiro has the socks, so you gotta fight for him. Anywho. Kitchen and dining will be opted for. Instead of the kitchen meeting, it's kind of a 50-50 for a lot of teams. Well, used to be, I would say. Recently in ECS, a lot of teams seem to just be favoring the kitchen and dining side. And it makes sense because a lot of attacks this season have been a bit up and down here on Oregon. Lots of teams have been having wobbly performances. Teams who have been looking strong in the past kind of either taking their foot off the gas or not being quite ready on it. And a lot of that does come down to this site. We've seen incredible strategies. Don't want to talk about Jaegers too much, but Shift has been pulling out some incredible clash strategies, especially on this particular site, to catch a lot of teams off. Yes, over in the West Tower. Nothing of the sort from Hmble. It's pretty routine, and Lionscreed, noting that that tower's clear, off they go. Take the ground, open the angles, prepare for a plant if need be. The issue for a lot of teams, though, has been the fact that there's been no presence over by meeting, and sometimes they're a bit too focused on the one side, and then they can't quite make any ingress, especially when there's a strong player inside of the showers. And again, that's what's happening here, because Simo is in support, just in case, but it's Andrea who has the older sitting deep in that position. I'm loving this passive play from Steno. He's waiting for the run out from Alec, and it's simple enough. I mean, I hate to... Alex's confidence could be shaken here, because 2 rounds ago, Steno was the one boasting that, he's no good, and then Alec dies twice in a row with no impact, and kind of humiliated there by Steno, just showing that he has that game sense to shut down a player who really wants to play aggressive, but you can't when the most aggressive man on the planet, Steno, knows exactly what to do. And there we go again, playing a safe position outside a window. He finds another kill. 4-2 now for the defenders as Andrea picks up one of his own. Make that 2. He's got Panda as well. Sam's dropped the hatch inside of the kitchen and found his kill onto Heavy. A 2 versus 2 suddenly pulled back for Hmble Academy. Not quite over yet. They want this 4-2 advantage on the defense. At the very least, they want those 3 rounds. And a very smart move around from Lionscreed, though. In the meantime, Steno and Noodle have repositioned around here and very simply taken out Sam. What a round this has been from Steno. He's found 3 kills already, and it's all from smart. It's not even just from gun skill in general. This is just smart play. He really is showing he is a legacy strong player at ECS, and this is the reason why. Noodle evades the older, ducks out with the pistol, shuts down Andrea. A great comeback attempt from Hmble Academy, but it was the Steno show at the end of the day, that round, which it seems to be starting to be somewhat slightly more as Lionscreed move in the lead for the first time in quite a while. They haven't been in the lead, I don't think, since the very beginning of Clubhouse, going 2-0 up. Since then, they'd been behind all the way for Hmble, who then took the map. What can they do from this position? Attacking on Oregon, taking that win, 3-2. Good position to be for Lionscreed. It's still in a good position for Hmble. They've shown contention throughout that round. I think they're a bit over-aggressive. I think they might have to learn from this. I feel like they should maybe play a slightly more passive and standard Oregon. It does play into Lionscreed's hands in some way, in the fact that Lionscreed will punish you if you don't. But at the same time, they're being punished when they do anyway. So it's a kind of, lose-lose situation in some ways, and maybe it would, on their final attempt, suit them on this very, very slow site that's very tough to push when there's multiple defenders still alive. Might favor them to just maybe play it that ever so slight bit safer. We'll have to wait and see. They have the operators for quite a deep hold if they do indeed go for that, but lots of settable utility that they can forget about. Put it down, leave it till later, go on a mad roam. Alec taking up that Jaeger role instead of the Vigil that really hasn't been working out the last couple of rounds. It makes sense for the switch, makes sense for a more deep hold. Lionscreed, what can they do? Will they be ready for this particular change of playstyle from Hmble? Oh, dear me. Steno absolutely on top of Hmble right now. Finds Sam nice and early. C4's gone, MP7's gone, Bandit's gone. Nothing you can do about that. Sam caught off in a bit of an awkward position. Rather silly of him. Steno, he's moved all the way around. He takes control of Garage and then goes straight to north. Pressure onto Simo, pushes him all the way down, whilst the rest of his team takes presence all the way across the rest of the map entirely. First floor secure, second floor as well, thanks to the Gemini work of Panda, as well as just, I mean, safe gunplay. They get that first kill, they can be pretty assured the rest of the team are backing off. Now Hmble, they're going to be tested in a way they haven't quite been so far. It is direct sight battles. We haven't seen too much of this, as lots of the fights, especially on Oregon so far today, have been very outside of the sight. You know, they've not been as direct. Lots of aggressive fights all over the place, lots of peaks, lots of corridors outside fights. This time, I don't think Hmble had the option to be as aggressive. It's just a matter of holding on. Simo does find the first kill onto Steno, ending his reign of terror that he's just started, at least momentarily. But a 4 versus 4, still not great. No time for celebrating yet from Hmble. They do have the utility to delay, and the smoke is starting to burn up his canisters. Used one earlier outside of bunk to very little effect, but now inside can delay the entry for one player. But it's the second ace who is inside. Not anymore. He swings on Ebby. Kygos gets the better of him and puts another canister down to try and give himself some time. Panda pushing through E-boxes down as well. Noodle blasting in through the smoke, but doesn't commit to it, so actually just takes a bunch of damage. Both him and Rabitison very low. 40 seconds left. A 4-2 man advantage given this position on an Oregon basement defense. It's all for Hmble to lose here as Rabitison is down. Noodle or nothing in this position. We should be headed to a 3-3. Yes, indeed. Finished off Rabitison, now down to Noodle. What can you do if you are the man? 15 seconds left. He's just going to take a little time out. Figure out exactly what Lionscreed want to do first round on the defense. Hmble take the third round. 3-3 at the split. Unless they all decide to, like, team kill or something. Double check. Yes, there we go. The time goes out. Hmble take it 3-3. Not 100% what they would have wanted, but at the same time, it's a decent result. They are even. Oregon against Lionscreed, not too bad. We are still even, though. From the viewer perspective, look at the top of your screen right now. You've got those dots, and in case you're a moron, those dots mean that a team has taken a map. So they've taken a map each. 3-3. It is even in terms of rounds here as well. Me, oh my. How can you call it? I don't know. Tell me how you're going to call it. Call it now, guys. Win those eBack socks. I'm going to take a hydration break. I'll be back just after the prep phase, I think.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers. to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Oh. Forgot I was casting for a sec there. I was just enjoying myself. Hello, I'm back. Well, what have we learned? Well, I gotta figure out what site we're on first. Lionscreed, they're opting for the second floor kids and dorms. Standard lineups, except for that Oryx you would debate, but Steno does like bringing out the Oryx quite often. We saw it a lot on the on Consulate. No surprise he's out here as well on Oregon. Gives you a lot of flexibility to roam around, do whatever you want. And with the teammates he has as well, that is also some security. Hmble, they've got breaching options and they are using them well to start things off. Noodle with a run out, not going to be successful. Actually takes a lot more damage than he deals. And breach is already open towards Attic. Not sure, I don't believe there's too much progress over to Master as of yet. But it's a good start for Hmble, starting to burn down utility as well and flush out some of these positions. Can the kills come along with it? That would be the cherry on top of the icing, on top of the cake for Hmble so far. Pushing already very close into the Attic. Andrea takes down Panda, moving right through, and Noodle here. He's got a bit of support from Heavy, but he's on very low health, and a potentially maybe just a bullet could see his demise. And you gotta worry about Steno here on the roam, because sure, he was stopped in the last round before anyone else, but he is an absolute menace. Will they have heard that Oryx charged downstairs? I'm not sure. Nope, definitely not. Steno charges in, takes the player down in Garage, and jumps all the way up through Armory, and now can flank all the way around. Will that call come out? Will they be expecting it? I'm sure they will. They'll be worried about that presence from behind. Oryx really can offer you so much in this position. Really unsettle these players who aren't bringing Nomad. They are bringing the kills. They managed to get... Oh, wait, sorry. It's a 1 versus 3 now. Heavy managed to get himself 1 in that weird... I'm not quite sure what happened in that flurry of kills, but either way, Heavy finds himself inside of Master. We've seen him pull out a, I think a 1 versus 4 this season from this position with the smoke, but he can only get 1 down. That is certainly not enough. Hmble take the first round on the attack. Exactly what they needed. They can't let Lionscreed get on a defensive roll. It's very, very good for them that they can start things off well. They're back in the lead 2 rounds in a row from the 3-2, now on the 4-3. Kid Storm's going to be reattempted by Lionscreed. Interesting that they're sticking that out. Might be changing some operators around. We'll have to wait and see. But it's promising for Hmble if they do want to upset this. They are, reminder, they're 2 rounds away from match point, 3 rounds away from knocking out Lionscreed. I don't believe we did any public vote or anything. But if we did, I imagine, given the vote yesterday being so heavily in the favor of... who was playing yesterday? No one was playing yesterday. What am I on about? I was thinking of ESA, that's why. I thought it was, yeah, my mistake. Anywho, if we did have a vote anyway, it would probably be very Lionscreed favored. You'd always, if you're placing a bet, you would place it on them. They are the favorites today. But having watched this game, doesn't seem necessarily the case. Pretty tight. Hmble Academy, what are they switching up this time around? Well, Lionscreed aren't changing too much on their defensive side. Steno's still roaming around on that Oryx, trying to be a menace. The difference is Sam. He's bringing a direct counter this time to Steno's antics. He's got the Jackal along to try and figure out exactly where Steno is and about. Try and shut him down quickly. Obviously, he can escape up a hatch or two if need be, if he's tracked. So they've got to make sure they pinch on him as quickly as possible. I believe that is the plan right now from Hmble. Despite the fact they won out that round quite convincingly, the main problem was Steno on that roam. Noodle could be in some trouble here. No, players just droning out, being a bit extra careful before they actually go and peek on in towards Noodle. Sitting in rear stage, he's going to punch some angles, scare some opposition. Bide his time. There's no need to worry, unless a pinch comes all the way across the first floor, but that's not happening right now. Very slow from Hmble Academy, and they're being punished for it as Noodle runs out and takes down the repelling player of Andrea. Thankfully, Simo is there to rescue things, gets one back, and Kygos steps one step further. Steps a step further. That sounds a bit naff, but it's a 4-3. That sounds very favorable for Hmble Academy, equalizing the man count with the round count. Can they step up from here? No, they've lost one. Steno takes down Kygos, still being a menace. The Jackal hasn't quite located him, it would seem. I've not seen any Jackal Inox pings onto Steno's position so far. There's actually one onto the player on this. Actually, is that Steno coming back up into the site? I believe it might be being pinged. But wait a second. There's one inside. No! Rabitison, he's sitting inside of Walk-In. They had no idea. He just went straight through the open hole that the attackers used for themselves. And he went, you know what? This is my hole. Takes them both down. 1 versus 3. Very pivotal moment there from Rabitison. And 1 minute left for Simo to reconsider. He'll give it a good go, but at the same time, it's a bit of time for Hmble Academy to debate what they might want to bring out next time. They've won one on the top floor, potentially lost one. Bar heroics from Simo. What do you do next? Well, you'd be looking at the 4 versus 4. They'd probably be going down to the basement. It's very much still within Humble's reach. Simo's going to be going for some vertical... No, not vertical. He's just using a frag grenade to potentially flush a player out, at least deal with some barbed wire. That's the least of his worries right now, as he's got so many different angles to watch, and he has no idea where they are being held. Steno on the furthermost angle takes down Simo. Another round for Lionscreed. Equalized again. The team's struggling, really struggling to be separated today. Quite a few times. We've seen these teams a lot today take 2 rounds, then 2 rounds, 2 rounds, back and forth, over and over. Lionscreed will be hoping that's the case. They'll be 1 away from match point, but they've got to earn it. Laundry and Supply will be their defensive site opted for next. I'm going to take a quick break just to have a sip of water. Actually got to get some water. I'm just gonna run, but I'll be back in a sec. You guys hydrate as well and let us know where you think this is gonna go.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Back. What's going on? What are you on about, Jerry? What's going on? Are you entertaining everybody on the stream in my absence? Tell him nothing. Okay, fabulous.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
Dear, oh dear. Right, Lionscreed down on the basement. Bringing a pretty standard lineup. Not too changed from their top floor either. Heavy bringing along the smoke as well. Certainly necessary. And what a player he is in such a tight position like Bunk. There is very little getting past him the majority of the time. And with Steno and co on the roam as well. There's a lot to deal with for Hmble. They got to shut them down nice and quickly. Not bringing the Jackal this time. They obviously decided that they wouldn't need it. And at least to shut down Steno they won't, because Simo's just walked in the top floor, used the open hatch, taken him down. That is the advantage of the Oryx opening everything for you. Your position isn't quite as given away. Top floor control taken by Hmble. First floor, still a bit of a question mark. I believe Rabitison maybe lingering around somewhere. No, not at all. They've all backed off. Lionscreed now 1 minute burned off. Lost a man. Not a good position. Still playing aggressive towards a lot of these angles and hatches. Hmble, they can take their time. They've got such a nice time cushion here. Time cushion. That's a great name for a band. Or like an anime or something. It's just like a guy, when he relaxes with his favorite cushion, he gets transported back in time. It's the time cushion. Anyway, is very much in Hmble's favor. They've used that to get this intel. 6 drones remaining, all in strong use. And don't forget about those Geminis as well. Alec giving his team a lot to work with, a lot to think about, and as well, getting rid of those Syria gates so they can move in and start throwing some of those projectiles. They've still got 3 frag grenades remaining to flush Lionscreed out of these tight positions. See, often if you have an extra minute to use, it's very smart to take it. It's often a position where sometimes on a map like this, I'd criticize a team for being a bit too slow, a bit too bimbly, but you can see by the drone work, it's so quick, it's so intentful, it's so full of intent, it's very intentional. Yes, that makes sense. 40 seconds left now to push. They started to burn down utility, they started to whittle everything down, but the time has also whittled itself down. Refrag comes out from Alec, but 2 kills on top of the 2 already taken from Lionscreed. Find just the 1 man. 20 seconds later from the 5 versus 4, Hmble Academy in a really poor position, and it's all down to Kygos. There's nothing he can do. Lionscreed completely on top. And that's very unfortunate. I should have watched what you were saying. I've got the stream up on the left. I just missed it. Damn it. Anywho, Lionscreed back in the lead. 3-2 up, then 4-2. No, then 4-3 down. Now back to 5-4 in the advantage. It's just going back and forth like mad. Hmble, if they want to win it here without overtime, can't afford to lose another round. They've got to try and take it all the way. I mean, historically, it's not too much of an issue for Hmble Academy. If you look at their season, first in contenders, 24 points. The majority of their wins were 7-5 wins. They all came close, but they just had the edge every time. Now would be a good time for that to be the case as well. Otherwise, their success will not just be impeded, but entirely halted. They will be gone. Completely done in ECS. Thankfully, we will see them next season in majors, and from this performance, I'm very glad. Like, having Hmble and Machine Soldiers, if anyone's been looking at these games the last couple of days, these are very major competitive teams. These could really give a run for some of these teams' money, especially as Lionscreed will be leaving us. Unfortunately, there's a spot there. Hmble Academy can definitely compete at this level. It's very, very good to see it. Very exciting for the future. Kitchen and dining will be our site this time around, and despite the fact that he's on the other side of the map, he's blasted on in Sam, and he's aware already of the positions of these players. Steno being pushed back. Robit is quite close as well. He's just gonna follow straight afterwards. The split attention from the Gemini and then coming down the stairs. Very smart move. Very well working with Alec, who, despite going 18 kills on the last map and then 10 rounds into this one, he's got 3 kills. You think he's just having a nightmare. Actually, he's settled on a bit more of a supporting role very well. But Sam has had some very impactful kills. Not quite the tally you'd hope for, given Alex on the previous map. So it's an interesting battle kill-wise across the board. Steno being consistently very strong across today. And that's a very big benefit for Lionscreed. When Steno is on it, not really much a lot of teams can do against it. You just got to make sure he's shut down. Him and Robit on this roam, very, very important. Robit is down. Where is Steno? Well, we know where Hebby is, certainly, because he's swinging around on you with a shotgun as soon as you take down. Oh, he's got a second as well. He's not quite done yet. He's trying to find the third outside of the bottom of the window. He's just going to bide his time. He's being pushed from 2 directions. Noodle finds one. The frag grenade's going to push out Heavy. Very smart play. Again, Alec working with a teammate to shut another player down. Very smart play. We're now in a 2 versus 2. This top-down play from Hmble has worked out to some degree, but Panda's aggressive position here could be an issue for Kygos. He's in the corridor, isn't he? He's swinging close, but loses the fight. Ace wins it with the AK-12. 2 players now remaining. Alec have been praising his team play at the moment. Now he has to cover his teammate to win out this round. The play's miles away. Noodle's on the wrong side of the map. He's got Geminis he's got as many Geminis as he wants at this point, and there's just a lot of things going for Hmble right now. Noodle, a lot of pressure on him to find this first player, and he's looking the wrong way. Is he ready for Kygos? He is, but no, he still doesn't win the fight. Kygos absolutely lethal that round, shutting down not only Panda, but the final man as well. The Aruni Noodle. Very impactful for his team. Hmble absolutely rocking it. 5-5 we find ourselves at. Dear oh dear. I mean, Jerry and I were sitting here on a 5-0 defensive setup for Lionscreed on map 1, and we're saying this is over. This is done. We weren't quite. We're being a bit more professional than that, but at the same time, it seemed very much done and dusted. Hmble really didn't quite fight their way back on the first one. Second map, they really did. Started poorly, but then really stepped up after that. And now, as we're on the final map, they have been battling back and forth like crazy. This hasn't been one team's at all. Lionscreed have been in the lead. Hmble have been in the lead. Lionscreed in the lead. Hmble now pulled it even again. 5-5. It's match point. One of these 2 teams will be on match point after this. They will be 1 step away. Both teams currently 2 steps away, technically, from the quarterfinal, where they'll be looking to play against Arctic, who Lionscreed struggled to beat this season. Lost 3-7 on Clubhouse. Hmble Academy yet to play. But it's always going to be a tough game. I think one of the issues with Arctic, if you're a team coming against them, is a lot of teams don't have that solidity of lineup that Arctic have. Arctic are one of the 2 teams in Majors who did not change a player once. They didn't use a sub through any of their games. They were the same team the whole way through, and a consistently performing team at that. They kill a lot, they die a lot. They're just a solid lineup. I mean, they were in the final against Lionscreed not long ago, in previous seasons of what this league was, all the way from Open. So they've definitely proven themselves over the seasons. I guess it's been over a year for them, but probably not over the years as of yet. Hmble, very quick progress here, blasting on in, but they've lost the ace already. He gets the hole open. Thankfully, Sam, he is ready for the aggression from Steno. Bit of an issue for Hmble in the past, just letting players come through that breach and take them down. A lot of pressure on Sam here to hold a lot of angles as his teammates are trying to get other things open in the meantime, especially Attic. But he's been C4'd from underneath. No pressure, no presence, sorry. Oh, it wasn't underneath. I believe that might have been a direct toss all the way across from Attic by Noodle. How was he allowed the security to... I think that must have been pre-placed, because he definitely can't get across. He's under pressure from 2 different players, and now he's down. Andrea, again, pushing with Simo across the Attic and taking out the player there. 3 versus 3. A very good start for Hmble. The thing that's really inspiring for them right now, the very positive factor of their attack, is the fact that very little time has ticked on by. They've still got surplus of 1 minute. And they've dealt with a lot of the utility that the defenders have. It is those smoke canisters still that can slow them down, but he's not using them yet, and Alec could sneak on his way in here. He's got the diffuser, he's got a frag grenade if he needs to use it. Maybe take out that shield. across in front of him, and he could probably move in and start trying to stick this plant, but no, he uses the frag grenade, not to remove the shield, but to remove Heavy and Panda from existence. Now it's just Robitison remaining, 1 versus 3, what a change that can be, and that is really the impact of a Whammy ban we are seeing here on this map. Robitison picks up 1 in response, and he could deny this planting player, he can! He uses the C4, there's nothing the planting player can do, and he's found Simo, 1 bullet will do the trick, even with the MP5, he's weakened him so low, and the sledge, all the pressure on him, he's isolated here, and Robitison pulls out a 1 versus 3. You know what? I'll call you Robbie, because that's your name, you've earned it. Well done, the 1 versus 3. Incredible play, giving Lionscreed the match point. Hmble Academy so close to it. You can't afford to let yourself you can't lose attention for a moment, or Lionscreed will slurp it up. The individual moments have been few and far between in this game, in terms of clutches at least, but there we go. In the most important of circumstances, he finds his footing. Lionscreed the advantage. Hmble Academy, 1 attack to make it happen. It's the attack that they've really struggled at so far. It's this laundry and supply. That might be this game gone. Last chance saloon for Hmble Academy. Alec, what? Oh man.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many.
If Lionscreed win this is a Steno masterclass. This is. Thanks, Heavy. Little does Heavy know I want him to lose, but you know, just joking. Dearie me. It's just been a fantastic neutral match, this one, to observe, to cast, to be involved with. I'm sure you're all enjoying it at home. It's gone the full distance almost. I mean, we've still got overtime as well on the final map here potentially.
5 seconds remaining.
But this is certainly an important round either way. Lionscreed just the 1 away from the victory, and Lionscreed are bringing out Steno, and especially that cap can. He does do it quite often. It's nothing you don't expect, but just the right place trap at the right time. Sometimes you don't have the option in a late push in some of these sites you can't check your angles and take down a cap can trap nice and late. Depends where Steno decides to place them. They don't have a twitch this time around, like Lionscreed decided to bring quite a few times to maybe deal with the likes of that. Their options are a bit more standard. It's a bit more open hole, shoot through hole, as Elder Brain would say. Has worked for them to mixed effect so far. Can they equalize it and get 3-3 on their half? Now, Presence is the same push we've seen from a lot of these teams. Last time they attempted the freezer move, but every other round than that, there's been so much north and east presence across bunk, rear stage as well. No player currently on the boiler pillar. Alec is going to be fully aware of Panda's position, though. Panda's position pinged and his position pushed by Alec. That's a lot of P's. Some alliteration there for everyone at home. Sam improving things even further, taking a kill onto Panda. Hmble Academy with the advantage now. 1 minute 30. Still a tough position, and Steno is miles away. I'm sure they're not aware of that. If they can flush Heavy out of this position, potentially, they're in for a very good chance. They got to watch the flank from Steno if he does go for it. It does seem they have the presence up in meeting, ready to deny it if that is indeed the case, but the lack of Nomad is a potential issue. It's really going to come down to how strong Heavy is here. A Heavy moment would save Lionscreed, and it might be required. It's a 3 versus 5. He's really under it. 2 versus 5 now. 1 versus 5. Hmble Academy on the precipice of overtime. Just the one player standing between Lionscreed and overtime. He can't do it. Heavy taken down by Sam. A flawless round from this position. Incredible play, despite all the taunting from Steno and the rest of the Lionscreed squad, despite the fact they were 3-1 up, and potentially a lot of people in the chat saying they bottled the last round. It was a fantastic bit of play from Robit. This time around, not the case. They stepped up and executed to perfection. They identified the fact, you know what, we probably can't deal with Heavy in that position, so they didn't. They just did everything else around it. They didn't need to take him too directly. That's the thing. You feed Lionscreed, they will absolutely eat it up. But they didn't give them an inch, Hmble Academy. So no mile for the taking for Lionscreed, by my usual thing that I say about them. All the way to overtime. Here we are. Dear, oh dear. Don't forget to hydrate, everybody. This game is getting very intense, but we should all just take a moment and take a second. Make sure we're all right.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Second floor kids' dorms will be the site attempted by Lionscreed to try and edge their way on the defensive side of overtime. That is their ever so slight advantage, if you could call it that, despite the even split so far today. Noodle gets the better of Kygos with a wonderful shot across from Master. Easy enough. Takes a kill. Ace is down. All the breaching now down to Andrea. Of course, he's done a fantastic job pushing Attic. Panda's really struggled in that position. He's been taken out every time, whether it's on the Valkyrie. We've seen a Melusi in that position. I believe a Robit. Earlier on in the game, lose his life in that position as two players push through. At the same time, Andrea's got to go round and try and get that breach open across the other side, but there's so much utility on it. Panda with this open setup as well. He's going to have to push... No. Simo with a misthrown nade. I was talking about the importance that Andrea offers the lineup in terms of utility and in terms of fragging play moving through the attic. He's down. So it's all down to Simo to hold this position firm. He's very close to Panda. Oh, they both kind of weirdly check the angles at the wrong time. And thankfully for Hmble Academy, it comes in their favor. Simo takes that kill, takes control of Attic to some degree. Steno's position now isolated. He knows, well, sorry, Hmble know of his position. Simo's just got to stay alive in this position. Alec can't manage that. He's down in security. Steno rotates around. His position was known and two players knew it, but he's managed to sneak all the way away down into the basement. Fantastic roaming play by the Mute, giving them a big, big advantage here. It's so big, I said it 3 times. 50 seconds left now. 4-2. Hmble, can they do it? It's certainly possible. It's going to require some incredible gun skill. And they've got some incredible players to come up against in order to get those kills. Let's not even talk about the utility that's not been dealt with yet. The angle's not quite open. Full games control for the defenders. They can sit there very comfortably. No projectiles for Simo either. He doesn't have those frag grenades that Alec used so well on his attack here last time. But he does take down Heavy. Oh, unfortunately, he can't finish him off. And he's finished off himself across from the other site. Wait a second. Sam's going on a rampage. He's taken 2. But unfortunately, Steno is right there to stop his surge. That almost turned from a 4 versus 1 into a win for Hmble. You can never quite count your chickens, Lionscreed. You got to watch yourselves. But they've taken the round anyway. Very, very close there. Of course, Steno is the player there to save the day. Getting back from that roam position, coming all the way back to the site and stopping this incredible surge from Sam. I mean, I criticized his kills so far, like on the Ash, about halfway through this game, but he really has stepped up. Let's get that scoreboard up and have a quick gander at how everyone's doing, because it's been very spread. Everybody's had a pretty solid performance. See lots of doubles. Obviously, Panda and Heavy not quite up number-wise, but the spread from Hmble, sorry, Oh, that's... Yeah, Hmble, sorry. The spread is what's positive for them because everyone on this team so far in Oregon has been reliable. They've all had their moments of brilliance. Lionscreed, it's a little bit top-heavy, but you can afford to be top-heavy when it's those sorts of players. And even Panda and Heavy, who haven't necessarily got the most kills, they have been rocking it across maps, even on this map as well. Some brilliant performances, and you know they can pull it out when necessary. Lionscreed have a cushion of 1 round. It's not a time cushion, it's a round cushion this time to sit on. Even if they fail this attack, they've got another defense themselves to go for and try and secure a bottom floor defense. I mean, they didn't manage it last time. They actually got flawless, so it's still tough. It might just come down to how Hmble can defend this one. It looks like they're going very defensive this time. They're going for a turtle strategy deep inside of the site. Not going to risk too much with too many peeks. It's just Simo as the kind of outstretched arm of this defense. And it's a successful one. It's like Valkyrie's arms. Super hench, super buff, very muscular. Gets a kill. Takes down Steno, most importantly, who has been the player so far, having a fantastic game. Incredible impact player to remove from the game very quickly. That Ella pick could be very good come the end of the round as well if things get close. Hmble, though, they have seemed to just have the edge on this site as of late. Start of the game, it was a bit of an odd balance, if not in Lionscreed's favor, but recently Hmble, attacking or defending, just seemed to have a slight edge. They seem to have really figured out how they want to play this site against their opposition. What will Lionscreed offer up? They've been good when they've split. This time Simo, he's gone for... Did that get caught on the desk or something? That's so unfortunate. He could have got 2 players there with that C4. Maybe... Was it caught on the hatch? I'm not quite sure what happened with that C4, but very close from Simo to making a huge dent in Lionscreed's chances. They're still not in a bad position, though. Lionscreed, they don't have that much utility going. They haven't burned that much utility. They don't have much time, and they have a small amount of intel. Not too much directly on the site. They're going to have to rush on in and challenge this player. It's Kaigoz standing strong. Simo gets 1, but he's refragged. Noodle picks up 1 as well. 3 versus 3. Tough position, especially for the attackers. They're on low health. 2 players remaining now. A lovely C4 toss from Andrea down to Rabitison and Noodle. Smoke canisters could do the trick, but there's none remaining. Neither for C4, so it's going to come down to the gun skill or the time for Hmble. Can they pull themselves all the way back? Kaigoz, he has to use his patience here. He peeks out anyway, but wins the fight. Just Noodle for the refrag attempt, but he can't do it. It's a great day for Smokes inside of Elbow, and he gets another kill to finish things off. Hmble bring us all the way to 7-7. Attacking side. You imagine it's going to be down on the basement for Lionscreed, which we just saw Hmble flawless them on. It is. Can you call it this far in? No, you can't. We are as even can get. Equal results for either team. Consulate, Clubhouse, win-win. Oregon, who knows? Can never not count your chickens. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Oh my. This is the time to bring the Ying. Well, Sam, he made a huge impact on that that previous round. Alongside pretty much the entire team stepped up. Simo's had some very good rounds lately. Hmble having a really good time. Lionscreed. They're not going to be too worried, but they're going to be a little bit worried. They're one round away from being knocked out here. At the same time, 1 round away from going into the quarterfinal, so no real problem there. It's a tough point, but the main issue is going to be the fact that they lost this flawlessly, what, 2 rounds ago? And that was a round, remember, where they were on series point. They had match point. They were ready to go all the way to the quarterfinal, and they fluffed it. A great play from Hmble, who seemed to be... Are they rushing? There's no way they're rushing Bunk. I think, no, it looked like it momentarily. So many drones flooding that position. They want to find exactly what they're dealing with and make sure it is dealt with as quickly as possible. Bringing on that Ying to potentially flush out Heavy of this position. They didn't need it earlier on. They actually pushed on quickly and shut down a lot of players by moving down north stairs. Using that intel from the Gemini. Alec has been one of the better players I've seen. I'm thinking of Iana players in ECS, and Inferius comes to mind from the old Skittle.jpg lineup before they left. He's brilliant on that. But Alec, I've not quite seen a Gemini performance like this in some time. A lot of utility by the defenders being utilized in this position. Sam's caught between a rock and a hard place. He's going to go in the smoke and just survives. It's very close. Why did he run back into the smoke? Oh dear, it's just about dissipated in time and it's not finished him off. The revive can happen, but Panda is close. A 5 versus 4, but only by an inch. Thankfully, Andrea is there, but Panda, he is very close to causing a big upset here alongside Noodle. 2 Lionscreed players very close. The stuns come out, and Noodle gets one. He's blind, though, for the refrag. Panda's very close to Sam if he does decide to swing. So many impactful players right next to each other, but nothing happens, just biding their time. That works for Hmble. They're happy to just take their time here in these strong positions they've got. 2 downstairs, very strong. Simo finds another onto Robitussin. Alex dropped the E-box hatch as well. Panda is completely stuck here, but he finds the first onto Sam. Can he get a second? He does! The refrag comes out from Simo. 2 players left for either side. 1 minute on the clock. Kygos and Simo versus Steno and Noodle. 7-7 overtime. The final map here. It's all in these players' hands. What can they do? Well, Steno can step up. He moves through the breach and takes down Simo. It's Kygos remaining. He knows the Jaeger's playing aggressive and he knows there's an Aruni as well, but he goes actually direct into the site. Will he be able to take this fight? He does take her down! It's down to Steno! 1 versus 1! 30 seconds left! And he misses! He takes... Steno takes the win! He goes for the secure of the kill and gives his own position away! Lionscreed, slurp it up, take the win! Have you seen a closer game than that? I very much doubt it. 1 versus 1 on the final map. Best of 3. Lionscreed move through to the quarterfinals. And I'm sure a lot of their fans, they'd have been thinking, it won't be too tough. I don't think anyone expected it to be that close, even for a Hmble win, potentially. 1 round away from them. Very unfortunate from taking that. A 2 versus 2 that just goes the right way. A 1 versus 1 in the end. Very unfortunate. Whew. I'm very winded. Lionscreed, what an effort. We will see you against Arctic in the next playday. Can we get that schedule up, that playoff bracket, so we can have a good look? It's a little bit faint. There we go. Lionscreed, yep, they win that out 2-1 against Hmble. Arctic will be their opponents. And of course, the quarterfinal 2 was already decided from the previous match game. Machine Soldiers really bringing it close against Kill's Disciples, but a well-earned victory in the end. They will be facing Team Manic, who have been recently, they've had a bit of a resurgence, and I don't want to curse it, but I feel like a lot of it has been down to the signing of Aslan. He has made a huge difference, and it's a very Lexaro performance from them. If anyone remembers, 2 seasons ago, Lexaro had a terrible start to the season. All they could do was draw and then win the final few playdays. They just stepped up nuts, and then they finished second, got all the way to the semi-finals. It's the sort of thing that Manic have done this season as well. They had a really poor start, changed players around a lot, but they finally found a team they liked, and they've got all the way there. So that should be an absolute banger against Machine Soldiers, as will Lionscreed Arctic. And Arctic, they have that ever so slight advantage. They've been slightly more in favor than Lionscreed this season. Obviously, why they've seeded higher. That game is going to be very tough to call. And of course, the winners of those go to face Two teams who have been very tough to beat for virtually anyone. Cyberground, unbeaten all season in majors, which is practically unheard of. I've never seen it since I've been here. And Jaegers as well, just that one to... they lost to Cyberground and then to Bulldog as well, but have given some incredible performances. So it's going to be very, very tough from here. But we're finally through that first stage of the bracket. We're into the quarterfinals. I hate to give it, but Steno gets the MVP today. He's just a bit too good. Incredible performances from everyone across the entire roster of both teams, and it's a great viewing spectacle. I need to go take a break because I am tired. Thank you very much, Jerry, for observing today, stepping in nice and late, and for casting the first map as well. Thank you, Shiro, behind the scenes. I hope you enjoy your socks once I get those to you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I've been Ebac. See you next Playday, whenever that is. I think it's Tuesday, maybe Monday. Tuesday. Yes, for the next stage. See you in the quarterfinals.